You'll love all our options, including Sky Bar and Grill with nonstop sports on our wall-to-wall TVs and the friendly service you know and love. Play longer, win more at Prairie Flower Casino, just minutes north of downtown Omaha. Must be 21. Please bet responsibly.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the Q's Fund Board, which supports the Q's school system. To learn more, go to Q Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
Want to quit tobacco? You don't have to do it alone. The Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line can help you quit any type of tobacco. We offer professional coaches to help you create a personalized quit plan with an online community to support you along the way. Plus, we'll connect you to resources like medications to help you quit, so you have everything you need to become tobacco-free. Quit with confidence. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired in association with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
The Nebraska State Veterans Homes are here to serve veterans, their spouses, surviving spouses, and Gold Star parents. Join your fellow veterans and their families at one of our homes in Bellevue, Kearney, Norfolk, or Scotts Bluff. With a sliding scale to determine your financial contribution, an excellent clinical team, and plenty of fun activities, our homes are the perfect retirement choice. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/homes. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Get ready, Novas Nation. The 2026 Omaha Supernova schedule is here. Join us Thursday, January 8th at the CHI Health Center as the Supernovas face the San Diego Mojo to kick off the season and chase another championship. Be there for the Supernovas debut of hometown stars Merritt Beeson and Nora Sis, plus Team USA libero Morgan Hentz. And with John Cook joining as the GM and Brooke Nunaviller back with the Novas, excitement is rocketing to new heights. Don't wait. Join Novas Nation and get your tickets now at supernovas.com.
When you're in the mood for a little change of pace, tune into Omaha's home for hits that rock. 101.9 The Keg with rock hits from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Plus, we're your home for all Creighton men's basketball games. 101.9 The Keg, hits that rock.
Hey there, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. It's time for hunting here in the Heartland. And before you go out, remember that safety needs to be your number one priority. Remind yourself to be doubly sure of your target and background before you even aim. And in a moment, ask yourself, is that a legitimate target? Is the bullet flight path clear? And what am I going to hit if I miss my shot? Be safe out there. I'm Greg Wagner.
Get the truck you love and never pay a dock fee, only at Baxter Ford. That's right, pay for the vehicle, not the paperwork. Save on our incredible selection of new Ford trucks, F-150, F-150 Lightning, Super Duty, Maverick, and Ranger, and shop with confidence, knowing you'll never pay a dock fee. Experience our helpful way to buy a car, with no handoffs, no hassles, and absolutely no hidden fees. Shop now at BaxterFord.com.
This season, when the Creighton women's basketball team hits the road, you can hear all the action on either 1180 The Zone or Newstalk 1290 Coil. Creighton women's basketball away games, all season on 1180 The Zone and 1290 Coil.
1620 The Zone. Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Matt, and Jim.
And a good Friday morning, a Football Friday Fiesta. Games matter. Yes, good morning. Split show to begin the morning. Abilene, Texas, and Omaha, Nebraska, which a lot of shows do this time of the year. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good. Abilene studio.
Yes, good. Yes, the morning. Abilene studio.
The Abilene studio looks great. I still get like you're just in a nice hotel room.
I think your standards are very low for a nice hotel room.
He's young. You're all there
because you see what's on the wall.
I saw what's on the wall and I saw the couch, and I more so was trying to make a point of the Mavs made it to the NCAA tournament, and they were the double Summit League champions last year, and so champions deserve to stay at champion hotels, and that's where you're at.
In Sioux Falls, you did.
This is just going to be a bit, I think, for the rest of the season. That no matter, like you could be in a Motel 6, and I'm like, championship hotel, baby. Look at you. Yeah. Mavs are whining and dining.
Fargo. I've like this part of Texas is flat. I mean, you
can see Dallas.
You can't see, you can see Dallas from here, and Dallas is like 150 miles away. But just the last 2 days, and then playing last night, lost 73-71. We're a long way away from the campus. I don't know where we are in Abilene. Abilene, from where we're staying to where the campus is and downtown, seems like a long way away. This would be a huge city. It's really not. But no, I think you see the stuff on the wall, and you're like, wow, that's a nice hotel. But you know what? You know what the biggest thing is? There is a trend in hotels. Okay. And, I mean, this would be a weekend to not be in a hotel or flying, because we fly Dallas DIA today with the flights that are being canceled at both of those airports. So far, so good.
Okay.
And then Monday, because we are flying commercial on this leg of the trip, we're playing a late game in Fort Collins, so we have to wait until Monday morning to come back. And we're flying DIA to OMA. Okay. So fingers crossed with all the flights. But the trend in hotel rooms is no desks.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's fewer and fewer desks that are in hotel rooms.
This is an issue.
Like, so I don't know what we do, because we're gonna do a handful of remote shows. What, I lay in bed and do the show?
Be funny. It'd be really funny if you were in your Tony Soprano shirt from yesterday and you were just
a t-shirt. Just a t-shirt. Look at t-shirt.
It was a
Zone TV tray.
It was a Tony Soprano. Like, you just needed a big old gold Jesus piece, and you would have looked like you were
a velour tracksuit on the chair.
So here's that's really disappointing. Actually,
I know. See, look at that, like bear.
Okay, we don't need to see your chest hair.
It's a 6 o'clock.
I like being on TV.
Seriously. This is a little disappointing that there's less and less desks in the hotel, because it brings back the childhood memories of like going to the hockey tournament and getting into the hotel, and then your dad just like unloading all of these papers and all of these files and like putting on the computer,
doing
work. And like you would go and you would play the game, and then you would go to the pool and hang out. Like all the parents who were like jobless or whatever would take you out to Buffalo Wild Wings, while your dad like figures out the way to make sure that he can pay the ridiculous ice fees that like the team is charging. So it's like that was the memory of like all of a sudden you'd go for a little nap, and like dad is like he's got like a full on training center in front of him.
Yeah.
That you're taking away the American staple when you take away the desk.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've been in one hotel recently that did not have a desk. They had like a just a big table that had the TV on it, but there was no desk, there was no chair, there was nothing like that. I don't know. So far, we're lucky, but you're very, very kind to this hotel room. Nice place, but
it's not like you've taken me on a tour.
Is the coffee decent?
Yeah.
That's all I
How's
ever
the
care
coffee?
about.
Is it
no. So here's the deal.
Oh,
so they only give you 2 things for the coffee maker, and they didn't come in and clean my room yesterday because now most places don't unless you ask. They don't do it on a daily basis. So I'm no coffee this morning, and I don't have any pants on, so I didn't want to run downstairs.
You can put pants on and you can go downstairs and get coffee.
Yeah, you'll probably do that. All right, welcome in everybody. It's
solved my problems.
It's a Football Friday Fiesta coming up in the next hour. Brett Ciancia will stop by week 11 of the college football season. Not very far from here is one of the games of the day between Oregon and Iowa. Not very far from where I'm at is probably the game of the day, BYU and Texas Tech. So Brett stops by at 7:30. We go back to back in the power hour of 7 o'clock. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, will join us. And then Matt Stevens, who is the very talented radio analyst for UCLA, will join us to let us know where the Bruins are. Have they lost the momentum after getting blown out in Bloomington, then having the week off to get ready for Nebraska? That's the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. You know, we Jones, especially on this radio station, because we're all football guys and gals that are on this radio station.
Oh, yeah.
We love football. We wait for football. We have countdowns for football. Football gets here in late August, and the next thing you know, it's over. It like flies by, and
crazy.
Nebraska has 3 games left, including tomorrow night at the Rose Bowl. But last night, the Thursday night grossness of NFL football games returned. Do you think? Yes. Do you think in that game, where for only the second time since 1950, we had 2 teams that had more penalties than first downs?
Ooh,
and somehow Denver is 8-2. That's for another discussion. But do you think at some point that you will think in the middle of the summer, you'll be contemplating while you're sitting there at your pool, and you're like, you know what, I really want to watch a football game, and I think I want to go back and watch that Thursday night game in Denver in Week 10 between the Raiders and the Broncos? Do you think at some point that you'll summon enough energy to go, gosh, I want to watch that game, and then I want to double down, and I want to watch the 2022 Indianapolis-Denver 12-9 overtime game because I miss football so much? Will you ever get to that point after watching last night's game?
Only with insomnia.
No. That was awful. That was terrible.
But the unis were beautiful.
Okay, so Denver should just have
uniforms. Great, game terrible.
Yeah, Denver should just have those forever. Like that should just be their uniforms forever. I mean, they are hot. I mean, they are nice. Now, no, I won't, because I had no joy.
But you're a football guy. You are a football junkie. You love football. You consume football. No matter if it's bad football. You've rooted for the Bears for so long.
I know, but like even the Bears haven't had an offensive line that looked as bad as Oakland yesterday. Like every time Geno snapped the ball, Geno was under an immense amount of pressure. And then he throws it, the poor guy, to his number 5 overall pick running back, and it bounces through his hands off the top of his head, and he throws an interception. Right. And I know that we're going to say for this game, Gary, like, oh, that was on Ashton Genty. But when we go back to the end of the year and we evaluate Geno, we're going to count that interception as if he threw it right at the guy. Right. Yeah. Like it was ridiculous. And the PFF grades aren't out, but heading into the game, Bo Nix was like one of the best QBs against man, but against zone, he's awful. He's terrible against zone. And so I'm curious as to how often Las Vegas, who does not have a good defense, I'm curious as to actually how many times specifically they went into zone, because that was Bo Nix's worst game. And, I'm just waiting for the A block on ESPN to talk about how terrible he is and how he's a bust and how, the Denver Broncos are a terrible franchise that are setting him up to fail. Because isn't that what we do with quarterbacks in his draft?
Yeah, but this is the reality, and this is not a Kansas City Chief fan talking. By the way, they play in 10 days. The Bo Nix that I've seen over like the last 6 weeks, and his passer rating, I think that was the 6th time last night his passer rating's been below 70. That guy can't win you the Super Bowl. That defense can get you to the Super Bowl, but can Bo Nix win you the Super Bowl? And that defense is really good, especially that pass rush. But you brought up Genty, and watching the Raiders play. And I don't know why Geno Smith was still in the game last night, as late as he was, as banged up as he was. And I also wonder, they've made Genty ordinary. And why is Pete Carroll back? Why did Pete Carroll come back to do this? And he brings Chip Kelly as his offensive coordinator. The Raiders are a mess. They might have broken Brock Bowers. He was bad last night. But the fact that the Genty looks ordinary, I think is concerning if I was a Raiders fan.
He doesn't he's not bad by any means, but definitely doesn't look like a guy who warranted the pick that they got him at. And I mean, I think it's what do we talk about so much with Nebraska football? Like a great offensive line can make an average running back look like Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt Smith can look like an average running back behind a really, really bad offensive line. This is kind of, no disrespect to Emmitt Smith. It's just the analogy.
I'd hope not.
I know. It's just the analogy. But what I'm saying is that's what we're seeing. This offensive line is so bad that it is hampering and not helping Genty whatsoever. And yeah, I agree with you. Like I told you, I thought the Raiders were going to be better than people expected this year. And it was because they upgraded at head coach, they upgraded at quarterback, and they had a dynamic running back with then two other dynamic playmakers in Crosby and Brock Bowers. I was like, that combination should make them a little bit better than people think. And they did not upgrade a quarterback the way that I thought they would. And to your point, they didn't upgrade a coach the way that I thought they would.
No.
Like
he's 73, and it was to get back in the game. I mean, they don't look good at all.
They don't play good football. And
could it be a 1 year?
Now I'll say this. I don't think I gave. So entering the game yesterday, Denver was 4th in EPA in rush and 6th in EPA in pass. I imagine those numbers will probably just go up in terms of defense. I think these Denver, we talk about a ton, like Denver hasn't won a playoff game since 2015 when they won the Super Bowl.
No, we don't talk about that enough. What was that stat?
They haven't won a playoff game since 2015 when they won the Super Bowl. But that's been because
lots happened since then.
They have they have crashed and burned with the quarterbacks, with Brock Osweiler and Paxton Lynch, and go down the line of they tried having Joe Flacco and Russell Wilson and the Drew Lock thing, right? Like this defense, though, I don't think we've given it enough credit because the defenses have always been really good, Jimmy. Like they've always been something that you can pin your hat on. They are even better this year. I mean, this is a defense that I'm not going to say nothing. Very few defenses rival the 2015 Denver Bronco defense. This is a defense that is by far their best one since then, and they've had really good defenses since then. And
their pass rush is carrying them. They've won 7 in a row. Kansas City, Denver. They play in 10 days in Denver. I think there's really only 2 teams that are built right now to win the Super Bowl, and that's Philadelphia and Buffalo. In a year where I don't think there's a dominant team, I don't throw Kansas City in there. There's something that's holding me back about Kansas City, but they're in Denver in 10 days, and Kansas City to win that division has to go 2-0 against the Broncos. Their defense is really, really good. They don't give up very many points, but that offense, and when your head coach is an offensive genius, I don't know. That's what holds me back. I don't think Bo Nix right now is a Super Bowl quarterback. But do you guys think that game last night, and again, we've been kind of lucky that we've gotten some really good Thursday night NFL games that are competitive, that are good football, and then we were reminded what Thursday night NFL football is supposed to look like or has looked like. And I always say this every time I stop people on the street, and I will say to them, because they'll say, "Do you know football?" And I'll say, "Yes, I do." I say, "Bad teams play bad football." I actually think about I'm thinking about putting that on a T-shirt. But do you think that was the worst NFL game of all time?
Of all time?
All time. Go back through your Rolodex.
You're
gonna step back a day later and look at the box score from that game.
In 1998, I saw the Bucks beat the Bears 6-3.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's a funny thing.
And there was no weather involved.
I was going to say,
right.
Do you remember another Thursday night game? This was 2 years ago. Justin Fields versus Bryce Young.
That was bad.
Bears Panthers. That was an awful.
That Indy game you talked.
That
about.
was an awful football game.
Yeah. Now I would not say that was the worst game I've ever seen. I think the Indy Denver 12-9 overtime game a couple of years ago is right there.
Terrible.
But how did Al Michaels last night muster up enough energy to read the promo for next week's Thursday night game, which is the Patriots and the Jets.
That's tough. That's tough. That's really rough.
I mean, we were on a hell of a run here with great NFL football, and now we're gonna like hit the wall on Thursday nights. Yes, we are so back. We are reminded that the NFL should not play on Thursdays.
We need a
UTSA lost last night.
And I don't know if it's on the schedule, but for the end of time, we just need a Tennessee Jacksonville Thursday night football.
That's true.
That just forever and ever. Like it just put them on 1 week on Thursday night. Because that's what when people go, man, like you're talking about it, right? In July, you're like, man, I want a Thursday night football game. That is the matchup I think everybody thinks of immediately.
Yeah, it's like Cowboys Washington on Thanksgiving back in the day. Yeah.
And Tennessee Jacksonville on a random like week 13, and where th're both like, 3-9 and they're terrible. And it means nothing for the AFC South standing.
See, I think
only good for gambling.
I think we
I didn't even gamble on the game yesterday. That's how bad it was. Gary, I looked at the game and I go, I don't think I want any part because I'm not a Bo Nix guy. I've never been a Bo Nix guy. Like the guy I've nicknamed we talk about deep balls and stuff like that, and like guys who are and are not accurate. Like he will have some really bad overthrows. I call them Boverthrows. I mean, you will get a couple Boverthrows a game where it's just like, oh, that's Bo Nix. Like he looks closer to, and Schaefer said this, so I want to give him credit, and I agree with him completely. Like he looks more like Auburn Bo Nix than he does Oregon.
Yeah,
like that's kind of how it is. So congrats to you.
He's
you
not
don't have to worry about him.
He's not seeing the field. I mean, just his. That's a good. I like that because at Auburn compared to Oregon, he looked completely different. But both teams were combined 8 of 29 on third down. I had the game up next to me while I was doing the game last night, and it was so bad. Like I didn't need. I had
you too. Like you had a great game you were at.
Yeah.
We're interested in your game than that.
I can multitask. Then I had a kid. So there was and I would say a kid, he's probably 12, 13 years old, was running stats for Abilene Christian.
Oh my God.
He was playing Madden on his phone.
Nice.
Madden Mobile, that's the game, man.
Yes. It was pretty sick. From just the looks of it, when I would glance at him and not trying to be creepy, he's a pretty good player. It's a pretty good player on Madden. Yeah.
No, it's well, okay. I want to bring up a point though. Like you say that like Bo Nix can't really see the field. That's exactly the point of like he does not play well against zone, but he plays well against man, right? Like he plays well against man because he's like, oh, Cortland Sutton's open. Like I'm gonna put the ball, and he's good at that. He's good at putting the ball where only Cortland can get it, right? Where zone, you have to read the field. I mean, that's literally what it is. That's just reading the field. You have to sit back and you have to read and understand where the pockets of the defense are at. He's just not doing a good job at it. It's just not. It's not. But this defense is awesome, and they should give J.K. Dobbins the ball even more, which is I still don't understand why Bo Nix played so badly and they still passed the ball more than they ran the ball. That makes no sense to me. I mean, Denver actually, it's not like they have the best rushing offense in the league, but they have a pretty damn good one that they should be able to hang their hat on. And they got to use R.J. Harvey more. I mean, they don't nearly use him as much, in my opinion.
Yeah, too bad they won last night. Well, Kansas City, Denver in 10 days. I do think in the middle of the summer, when no one is aware, the NFL Network will slip this game into the rotation.
God, I hope
it will be middle of June, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, we're still a month away from training camp. I got to have a game. And NFL Network, like at 10 o'clock at night, will slip this game in. And they will say a Week 10 Thursday night matchup between Denver and the Raiders. The uniforms are great. The game, don't worry about it. Style points don't matter. Just watch the football game because y'all want football. I think it'll happen in the month of June. And you know what? We will be so starved for football that we will give it a passing glance and we like, oh,
I will say this.
Gosh, we wait so long for football and then we bitch about bad football and then football is gone and we're like, oh man. I'll see you in June. We'll have a party to watch this one again.
I watch way more NFL Network in June and July than I do during the season.
You too, huh?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't really watch their pregame show or their postgame show or anything like that. Like I'm more sticking to my podcast and like I'll put on ESPN or whatever. So I don't really tune in to see like what Maurice Jones-Drew is saying or anything like that. Like I'm not really overly concerned about, what those guys are laying down over there. But at the same time, they make dude, when they do the Super Bowl reruns and the
Oh, yeah.
cinematic
Oh,
Super
yeah.
Bowl reruns,
The marathon?
it'll be like you'll be going through YouTube TV.
He's one of
and
us.
you're like, do I want to watch Beat Bobby Flay or Super Bowl 37 right now? Like, I want to watch Super Bowl
Super
37.
Sunday 1971.
Exactly.
John Facenda.
Oh.
Yes. All right, we'll have again Brett Cianci from Pick Six Previews is coming up in an hour. Lee Sterling as well. We'll get into Nebraska UCLA and our brief time together, the three of us this morning, on what I think is going to happen. I'm trending towards. I'm okay with this game. I'm okay with this game.
I've stumbled into
optics don't matter, just what the result is.
Look, I mean, you and I are going to talk more about like analytics, but I've stumbled into what a analytical projection of this game would look like. Okay, like it's a predictive like website that tells you like, hey, this is what the score would be for like every single matchup you could think of in college football. I want to have you in the next segment. I want to have you guess what you think the predictive score of this game is.
Is it done before Dylan or after?
It's done right now.
Okay, I think it has Nebraska winning. I think we've seen the same site. Am I correct?
It has Nebraska winning. We'll just do it now. It has Nebraska winning by 10.
Yeah, so I think with Dylan it was more than that even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild. I don't see that. I'll just spoiler alert. I don't see that at all. I don't see that at all.
Not the 10?
Not the 10. I see. You know what? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't, Jimmy. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I know. I'm learning. I'm learning what a tease is.
Line is still a 1.5. The weather's going to be great out the Rose Bowl. There'll be a lot of Nebraska fans there. UCLA off a bye week. We'll see if Nebraska gets there. All of us that are traveling, if you're going Dallas to Denver today, whoa. If you're going even a chartered flight from Lincoln all the way to Los Angeles, good luck. This is going to be crazy today, flying with 40 different airports, having to cut back on flights. But before we get into Nebraska UCLA, and we'll do that coming up the next segment. So yesterday in Lincoln, Matt Rule spoke on the Marshawn Nealon. It's tragic. It's absolutely tragic what happened. Dak Prescott last night, I think he was at his high school. They were dedicating the field. And remember, Dak Prescott's brother committed suicide. And if you've not seen, I know by now we've all seen the Rule stuff, and it has been shared all over the place. But watch the Dak stuff, because Dak can speak to the heart of suicide, which is reportedly that is how we lost Marshawn Nealon. Again, it's tragic. But in Lincoln yesterday, as Matt Rule was wrapping up his UCLA pre-press conference, and who knows what the results will ever be on the field for Rule at Nebraska, and he's 18-16. But one of the things about Rule, and yeah, there's some showmanship in there, and I say you got to go from being a showman to having substance. But there's also part of one thing we've learned about Rule is that he was put on this earth to guide young people. Mm-hmm. And what he said yesterday, and it was about 3+ minutes, and I don't believe that he knows Marshawn Nealon, but he used a life experience and an experience of something that I think really bugs him. In this day and age of NIL, players are almost looked at as less human. And we do this. Yeah. We look at athletes and we say, man, that's just a robot. Go out there and do that. And we forget that athletes are humans. They are just like us. They have the good, they have the bad, and they have the ugly. And the message that Matt Rule delivered yesterday, in the moment, and shortly thereafter this news had come out, it was only like a couple of hours after word had come out from Frisco, Texas, about the loss of a 24-year-old young man who was at, I guess, the top of his career on Monday Night Football, and Marshawn Nealon with the Dallas Cowboys, is how many people will follow the message that Rule laid out yesterday? How many people will check in on younger people? And there's younger people, there's older people, there's all of us, that we got to check on each other, and we got to be kind. But Rule yesterday told me that he has what it means to be a coach. You're a teacher, you're a coach, you're a human, you're a father to the young people that are out there. And he was put on this earth to help lead young people. Again, results, we don't know what will happen with him as a football coach, but there is a good message and there is a good person that deliver the message to check on your people. Now, I've had a couple of bouts with suicide in my lifetime of friends of mine. And there are times where people are in a space that they can't give you an honest answer, where you'll ask, "Hey, how you doing?" And they don't know how to answer that. But the message I take is that we can all be a difference in other people's lives just by saying, "How you doing?" Say hello to them, communicate, be authentic, engage them in conversation. Let people open up to you if that's what they want to do, but not shut ourselves out, and just communicate, from one person to another, young to old. And his message, I hope people just don't retweet it and say, "Man, that's a good message." You know what? I'm not a Nebraska fan, but I can be a fan of Matt Rule. And, I would send my kids to play for him. Don't just retweet it. Follow the message that the head coach at Nebraska gave you yesterday, because you never know. And it's not always somebody is in trouble and they're in a dark place. You might unearth a friendship. You might unearth a conversation, just by checking in on people and having a real conversation, being authentic, that it's not just, "Hey, how you doing?
Sure.
Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
And I appreciate for what Rule did yesterday in the moment, because again, that was only a couple of hours after the news had come out that Marshawn Nealon had passed away. And I think we needed just a reminder yesterday. So good on Matt Rule. And again, don't just retweet the message and say, "That's a good person." Follow the message.
I was watching I put NBA TV on my second TV, and they were doing their Sirius XM radio show, right? They're just kind of NBA national show. And they were in a break and they were doing their sports recap. And I put the TV on and it's Matt Rule talking on the Sirius XM NBA app game recap or sports recap. And the reason I say that is I'm like, wow, like the message that he sent, the message that he said, like, reached all the way out here, reached all the way to like national NBA radio, right? How many times do we take a college football coach in his words and we put him on that like kind of forum? Very rarely, I think, do words really, you can kind of have words make different sports collide in that regard. And I think that his message, it was deep, it was honest. It came from a place of concern, and it also came from a place of personal experience. And you mentioned it, Gary. Like, yeah, I as a young man myself, I thought of when was the last time I asked my buddy Kevin, like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, no, how are you actually doing? Right? We go ahead. I call him and we make a bunch of jokes, right? Like, but I think that, and you mentioned it too. Like, for me, like with my friends, and this is just me being in my youth, I call them and I immediately think, "Oh, you're fine. You've always been fine." We're joking, we're laughing, we're having a good, you're okay. You're like, they're in a good, but you don't know unless you really ask. And I think that his message was incredible. And it definitely does make you sit back and reflect of, how often am I actually talking to people, and how often am I not only taking care of my mental health, but other people's mental health. And so I think it's incredible Nebraska football's got someone representing them like that.
Well, we need more people in the coaching business that are in charge of molding young men and women that deliver the right message and look at them as humans and not robots. And I as I was listening to Rule, his big thing is the NIL world and how it's a transactional relationship. And he just reminded people that it doesn't have to be that way. And I think he's said it and he's preached it at Nebraska. But that was a good day for Matt Rule. It was a good day for conversation, and it will be a very uncomfortable day again for people that know Marshawn Nealon or with the Dallas Cowboys. But the conversation needs to happen every single day. And I hope I hope more coaches that have the role of Matt Rule that are willing and are okay to go there will step up and speak and share stories, because people need to hear stories, not just a message, but they need to hear stories. And you heard that yesterday. All right, we'll step aside. We'll come back. I know that was a little bit heavy, but the guy that is in charge of the Nebraska football program is a good person. And he had a good message yesterday, and it was received well by a lot of people. But just follow the message. Don't just retweet and click and like and bookmark it. Follow the message that people like Matt Rule deliver in those kind of moments after a tragedy surrounding the suicide of Marshawn Nealon. All right, coming up, we'll get into Nebraska, UCLA. Of course, the focus will be TJ Lateef. We'll see how Wisconsin fans are feeling the morning after their AD, who hired Luke Fickell, says, Luke Fickell, we're going to stay together. And Iowa and Oregon. Plus, Nebraska volleyball is feeding families.
I know.
Of fellow Big Ten schools. Another record crowd will happen at USC. Will that be the first time that Nebraska drops a set? Because they didn't last night. That's 43 in a row.
Wild.
As they swept Illinois down at the John on the Terry at the Bob. It's Gary and Matt on a Football Friday Fiesta with Jimmy. You're listening to 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a Big O pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
At Bank of America, we asked our teammates, what makes this company a great place to work?
There's very little that you can't accomplish working for Bank of America.
If you prove yourself, you can try over in a totally new way.
You can learn so much here. You're the owner of your career.
See how our teammates are growing in their careers at bankofamerica.com/great place to work. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
John, what are you doing? Get in my car. So why are you walking to work?
Thanks, man. It's these insanely high gas prices. They're draining my bank account. I can't afford to drive anymore.
Dude, don't walk. Just do what I do because I never pay full price for gas anymore. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Oh, wait. You're telling me you get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PROFIT for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code PROFIT. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PROFIT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PROFIT.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
my debit card.
Their debit card.
Where did I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone and...
That sound? That's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Omaha Hockey is back home after sweeping nationally ranked Colorado College, and now the Mavericks welcome in rival and 8th-ranked North Dakota to Baxter Arena. Games are Friday and Saturday night at 7 o'clock. The Mavericks look to continue to build on a great start to the season and need the energy in Baxter Arena. It's hockey time in Omaha. Get your tickets now at omavs.com/tix. That's omavs.com/tix. Be there and be part of the excitement. Omaha Hockey. This is home.
Husker Preview Friday is powered by McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Looking for trusted experts to protect and enhance your home or business? We are McKinnis, Nebraska and Iowa's go-to choice since 1981. For commercial or residential projects, trust McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Visit McKinnisInc.com today.
Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com.
All right, a Football Friday Fiesta ahead of Nebraska UCLA. Kind of a slate in college football this weekend. Is that the best way to go? Make the noise.
Yeah, I mean,
you could have a snow game in Iowa City.
What's even crappier about this slate, because it already is kind of a crappy slate, especially in the Big Ten, is that the best game gets played at 11 a.m. You know, like I'd be fine with a crappy slate if at least it was like a lead up to, hey, this is the game of the night. Like, this is what we've been waiting for all day. Instead, you're going to get BYU, Texas Tech right off the bat. And then after that, you're really not going to have any matchups that you really care about all that much, you know, unless there's upsets.
So I said earlier in the first time we were talking about the bad Thursday night game last night, and will you miss it? Will you watch it some other time in 2026? So we get so excited for football, and especially the 22 in Lincoln, that the season starts. I mean, the Cincinnati game doesn't seem like it was very long ago. That you and I were waking up on a Friday morning, and we were in a house in Kansas City with the fellas, and we were breaking down Nebraska was 1-0.
We were interviewing a coffee lady. Norma.
Yes. Yeah, she got fired. Yeah, she violated the company policy. I was later told.
By the way, if you saying she got fired, that's your fault. You know that? Like that all be on you.
Hey,
you got her fired.
I don't know the company policy for Uber. She should know. That's her fault. Yeah. I've never driven for Uber. I don't know. Uber Eats. So that's on her. I'm sorry that she's unemployed, but she's a grandma, so she can stay at home and take care of the grandkids after moving from Texas to Kansas City. But the Kansas City game seems like it was not too long ago. So then the season starts, and you just fly through the season. You have the ups and the downs, and Nebraska is 6-3, and you have no Dillon, but you got a TJ, and you're going to the Rose Bowl, and you're playing UCLA. They began the year with Deshaun Foster. Now they don't have Deshaun Foster, and then they were playing well, and then they got blown out in Indiana. And then you reach November, and these are the games that are supposed to matter. And Nebraska hasn't been good in November, and there's still the taste of USC. Do you think, because I'm kind of contradicting what I'm saying in the first segment, we wait so long for football and then it is over. But after Saturday night, then there's the bye week. Then there's only 2 games remaining, and they're in a quick time period. They go Saturday to Friday. Do you think that Saturday's result, if Saturday's result puts Nebraska at 6-4, that it will dictate the rest of the mood for the rest of the year? Like, people will check out and they'll be like, okay, I'm good. It was nice for a while. Have fun with Penn State, Iowa. I'll check back in portal season.
So
go get me some tackles.
They will check out, okay? And they will tell you that they are checked out.
That's true. That's true.
And then we will get 2 days before the Penn State game. And then they will check back in. And they will be like, okay, here we go. Like, okay, like Penn State's not that good. They got a freshman quarterback, interim head coach. You know, they had a bye week. The kid, you know, has had an extra week to prepare. You know, he can make improvements. Like 2 days. So we will be checked out, and we will tell you we are done, and we want the season to end 2 days before the Penn State game. You'll check back in. And then if they were to win that Penn State game, you'd be like, oh, my God, Iowa coming into town. You win this game, you win 8, you get to 8-4 with a backup quarterback. You could potentially squash the college football playoff hopes of Iowa in Memorial Stadium. Have maybe Kirk Ferentz's last Big Ten game end in a loss. That's what would happen if they were to lose on Saturday. And you know I'm exactly right. they would be like, I'm done, and then they would get roped back in
Yeah.
2 days before Penn State.
Well, because it's on the heels of a bye week. So, you lose to Michigan and then you have a bye week to break it all down. That's Michigan. You lose to UCLA and you have a bye week. Then I think the onus shifts to the coaching staff. And that's where people are more likely to check out to go, hey, I like the fellas that are playing, but man, I can't do anything with this coaching staff. I doubt this coaching staff because all of a sudden they're 6-4 and they could be trending towards 6-6. I don't need the optics Saturday night, even though I think it'll look okay. And I say this because I went back and watched the series that Latif played.
Okay.
And he had pretty good command of the huddle. It didn't seem like it was helter-skelter. Now, the play calling left a little bit to be desired. But in terms of like running the huddle, it didn't look like it was a major crapshoot. So I think it'll look like football. So I'm not into fully the optics of how Nebraska has to look. I'm fully into the result tomorrow night. But if they don't win, bye week, road trip to Penn State against a team that might get blown out by Indiana this weekend, then they have Michigan State. They could still get bowl eligible, so that game would mean a lot for Penn State. Apparently, if they beat Michigan State, this feels like that moment where, all right, I'm good. It's coming up on holiday season. I'll check in, but
yeah.
My emotional ties have come to an end at the Rose Bowl if you lose. Now, if you win, you start thinking, ooh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, all of us that predicted 9-3, we're still in play.
This is roulette, baby. This is
That's a good way to describe it.
This is the week to week, even when you have the backup quarterback, because of your schedule and how things have broke. Like, it still is an essential, like, 50-50 or 45-55. And like, even the Iowa game will kind of be that way too, because you just know rivalry game, it's going to be like, it's always close against the two teams. So this is why this season I've kind of enjoyed the fact, like, okay, look, if Nebraska goes 6-6, the season won't be fun for anybody, right? But
no,
it has been fun that every game has mattered so much.
I said that from the jump. I'm enjoying this season because they could win all of them or they could lose all of them once we hit October.
And I think you had a couple of games like in the first 2 years of Rule where you're like, like you could throw that one out, or this one. It doesn't really tell you the whole story of the program, and it doesn't really communicate anything other than, hey, they weren't good enough to win that game, right? Like, because you've now had the storyline in a way of year 3 Matt Rule, and this is when it pops, and the 5-star quarterback and all the other things, like, it has just made all of the stakes of all of these games be so much higher than they were the last 2 years. And it's been fun in that regard. Maybe not in the results, but it's been fun in that regard.
Yeah, it becomes we root for Emmett to break records and become all Big Ten, but have doubts about the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Winning in November when it matters most. Not being able to keep a team together when you lose your starting quarterback and you have 3 games and 2 games where either you're going to be favored or you'll be basically a pick 'em.
Also, too, you're not even doubting the coaching staff in terms of like the stuff on Saturday. I think you start doubting the coaching staff in terms of the things that were being done in the offseason, because you just have some groups of important positions that just have not improved the way that you anticipated or wanted them to.
Yeah, this is momentum for the offseason. Like, it's TJ Latif performing well for 4 games to give you, okay, he may not be back in the starting role in 27, but, what if Dylan gets hurt again? And because it's tough to sell tickets. It's tough to sell tickets in the offseason when you are 5-7-6 in 3 years.
Yeah.
And you can't use the excuse of, well, we lost Dylan. Okay.
You can't, and I agree with you, because you've had too many resources be pumped in and too much time to build up this program where one injury absolutely derails.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. They're in a better spot to use a backup than maybe going to Logan Smothers.
Oh my God.
Okay, as a whole, as a team, as a culture, as even talent around him, they're in a better spot not to crater, unlike when Nebraska had to go to a backup and all of a sudden Logan Smothers is playing against Iowa on Black Friday in Lincoln.
Well, then, I mean, you didn't even bring up the worst one. It's like when you had to platoon Logan Smothers and Chubba Purdy for the Minnesota game. That was God, I wanted to gouge my eyes out.
Well, two years later, Nebraska's in a better spot with a backup quarterback than they were against Maryland.
And
when they played three different guys.
I mean, it really is. It's funny to go back and like torture yourself thinking about those situations and thinking about those games. But it is an indication of like, they're in a much better spot now.
It's an indication. It's an indication, and it's an indictment of not prioritizing quarterbacks. Okay,
Sure.
The first year quarterback room not good at all. Okay, they went on Jeff Sims. Why? They got burned by it, but it worked out well because Sims was so bad that it opened the door for Dylan to come to Nebraska and start right away. Then you fast forward 2 years later, their quarterback room is in such a better spot. The quarterback recruiting, the quarterback future, they prioritize the position. They've made the position more attractive than just a quarterback that runs the ball all the time and gets the crap beat out of him. So they learned that lesson 2 years ago. So they're in a better spot with a backup quarterback transitioning to play against UCLA. And you brought it up the other day, and I fully agree with you. If you're going to start your first game, if you're going to play your first game, USC is not the team you want to play, especially in that moment with what the game and the score is. This is the best team to get ready for all week. They don't have the athletes that USC has. They don't have the atmosphere. You're basically playing a road game. You're going home and you're playing in front of home fans that'll be wearing red in a stadium that's supposed to have blue and gold.
For those people who are on on YouTube right now on 1620 The Zone TV, you can see my hand. My hand's in a form of a pendulum right now. Okay, it's in a form of a meter. Right. This is the Matt Rule Trust meter right here. Okay, I think that this game will tip the meter either way more than really any other game that we've
really.
played.
Are we back to doing a referendum after every game?
Well, no, but I think this has the most volatility out of the meter, out of all the meters, because I think the Michigan game. If they were to win that game, you would have tipped that meter all the way to I trust him. Mm-hmm. But they lose that game, and it didn't go all the way to I don't trust him, right? It was just kind of, all right, maybe they're not in the spot you think, right? Same thing with like the USC game. It would have tipped all the way to I trust, but it doesn't go as far back. If they were to lose this game, right? There are a lot of people who would be like, I do not trust Matt Rule. I do not trust where this
That's what I go to the people checking out.
Exactly. But
okay, I'll check the Twitter and I'll check the scores.
If they were to win this game, I think the meter goes a little bit farther than you think in terms of trusting him and trusting where the program's at. When you put into the fold, hey, they went on the road to California, not an easy thing for Big Ten teams to do. They did it with a backup quarterback. And if they are to win this game, they were to have done it off of the backs of the players that have played really well this season and trusted those players. They're going to have to coach well to win this game. So if they coach well, you're like, all right, hey, like, look, they actually overcame some adversity. This is adversity that Nebraska teams of the past haven't overcome. I trust the staff. I trust Rule. If they were to lose this game, you're like, oh, I'm out. I'm done. I'm over. I think the volatility is massive.
To me, it's a good bounce back spot. I got Nebraska winning 24-20.
Okay. I have Nebraska winning 21-17 or 21-17. I don't think they score that much, but I don't think UCLA scores that much.
No, it could be a quick game, lots of yards on the ground. We'll get into more of it when we come back in the next hour. That'll include Brett Ciancia and Lee Sterling tomorrow night, 8:00 on Big Fox. Tim Brando. I'll give you, when we also come back, I've got a website that you can sync the game, so you don't have to listen to TV. You can listen to the Nebraska radio broadcast, so you're not stuck with Brando.
I used it yesterday.
Really?
I synced you up to the TV.
Oh, you did do that?
I did. I actually did. I didn't know if we were going to talk about the Mavs game, but I was going to start quoting you a little bit, and I was going to wait for your reaction to be like, wow, you actually were listening. I did it. It was a good call. Gary Sharp and Gary Sharper.
Yes. All right. Hour number 2 coming up. Again, Brett Ciancia and Lee Sterling will stop by. Football Friday Fiesta on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Plum Right Time Saving Traffic Center. Not a bad start to this feel-good Friday morning in the Omaha Metro. There's no accidents or delays to report, so pretty much everything is smooth sailing for the time being. You shouldn't have to worry about being late to your destination, but if that changes, I'll keep you updated throughout the rest of the morning once traffic starts picking up. Be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Fernando's.
Skip the higher menu prices and third-party fees from other delivery services. Fernando's now delivers. Restaurant prices and low delivery fee. Nothing else. Sign in with your Fernando's Rewards account and earn points for future orders. Go to FernandosOmaha.com and click on the Order Online tab. FernandosOmaha.com.
Husker Preview Friday is powered by McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Looking for trusted experts to protect and enhance your home or business? We are McKinnis, Nebraska and Iowa's go-to choice since 1981. For commercial or residential projects, trust McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Visit McKinnisInc.com today.
Kids don't like to miss out, and neither do you. When sore throats, ear infections, or sinus trouble put you on the sideline, trust the experts at Boys Town Ear, Nose, and Throat. With specialized care for the whole family and quick and friendly scheduling, you won't miss a thing. Boys Town Ear, Nose, and Throat can get you back to life. Visit boystownhospital.org.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
My debit card.
their debit card.
When you're in the mood for a little change of pace, tune into Omaha's home for hits that rock. 1019 The Keg. With rock hits from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Plus, we're your home for all Creighton men's basketball games. 1019 The Keg. Hits that rock.
Pull up a chair with Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, Football Friday Fiesta, hour number 2. Also a big night of high school football. It is the second round of the playoffs. There are some really good games, especially in Class B. So enjoy. The weather's going to be okay, right?
Yeah, it's going to be good.
For Friday night?
I will be
Mid-60s today.
I will be on the call tonight. Millard North taking on Papio South. Should be a good game. Going solo.
Wait, you're doing play-by-play?
I'm doing play-by-play tonight.
I might listen. Well, my night just improved.
I know.
Hell yes.
So first time in I want to say a year doing play-by-play. Should be something.
All right, have a good call. That is a rematch of a pretty good game back in the regular season.
No, it wasn't. It was 51-7.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, it was not a good game back in the regular season.
Papio kicked up, but I talked to Coach Clemenger yesterday, and I go, "Are you like looking at that game at all?" He goes, "No, we're not." I go, because Millard North has won 5 out of the last 6 games and to battle all the way to the playoffs, and they beat Omaha North last week in a really good game. Isaiah Trailers, their running back, he had an awesome,
very underrated running back in the Metro that doesn't get a lot of love.
Doesn't get nearly as much love as, and like, look, Jerron Cannon and Sutgo and Tay Jenkins and Nelson and all those guys, like they they deserve a ton of credit. And I'm not saying that Traylor is like better than all those guys, but like he's good. He's really, really good. He won them that game last week.
This is on the zone, right?
This is on the zone.
All right.
But Coach Clemenger was like, yeah, we are not. I told my guys that game does not matter. It does not matter. You beat this team by 44. Like they are very, very different. So it should be a good one. It should be fun.
All right. Good luck. Have a good call.
Yeah.
You say that like so weirdly. You're like, you can't believe I'm doing play-by-play. I can't believe I'm doing.
Well, I know why you're doing play-by-play because John Schreiner's helping me out.
I know.
Yeah.
You'll do
thanks,
a tiny. You'll have a tiny listener.
No, I can't wait. I haven't done play-by-play in a while, and I'm excited for it. Should be good.
So what? 6:45 on the zone.
6:45 pregame. Yeah.
All right. 7 o'clock kickoff. The trend and. So help me here with quickly. We'll touch on Oregon and Iowa, and I know you'll get to Brett at the bottom of the hour on this game. Do people not realize that Oregon has played in big games and hostile environments, and even though Penn State is nowhere near what they were when they went to State College at the end of September, that they played in a whiteout? Like all of a sudden the weather, because it's going to be rainy and big environments, Oregon is a bad football team. What is going on? I know Iowa's become a trendy pick that you're doubting Oregon being a good team, but this game still is Oregon. It's not like Oregon's going to get decimated in the trenches.
No, and so the 6.5 is the line for Iowa. I agree with you in the regard that I think Oregon has been massively underrated and just really been put through the ringer for number one, winning a game in overtime. Like, why are we actively punishing a team for winning a game in overtime? What is that? When they like at the time, Penn State was ranked incredibly, like that was a good team. That's like what we considered a good team. They got the they handled their business, and yet we were holding it against them. And they had a bad fourth quarter against Indiana, but it's not as if they got we're acting as if they got blown out by Indiana. Like they got dominated by Indiana. Like they got that game was a touchdown spread. Like they were favorited in it, but they played Indiana just about as close as anybody has played Indiana this year. And so, yeah, I really like Iowa, but quick little stat here. Oregon has the number one pass offense with EPA. Iowa has the 124th pass defense. Or sorry. Oregon has the number one pass defense, and Iowa has the 124th worst pass offense. Like, I think that Oregon, if they can just, kind of buck up in the trenches on defense, it'll be I just see the path of Oregon winning this game more than I see the path for Iowa.
The path for Iowa winning this game is LeVar Woods.
Really?
They have a distinct advantage in terms of special teams. And if Iowa is to win a game like this, where the weather could be a factor. The weather just sounds like it's going to be miserable over in Iowa City. But again, Oregon, familiarize yourself with where Eugene, Oregon is. It's not like all of a sudden they're going to be surprised. And it's not a 9 a.m. game. It's 12:30 on the body clock, 2 time zones. Oregon should be fine. They went way across the country a couple of times and have done work. This is a LeVar Woods game because Iowa does have some significant advantages in terms of the special teams categories. And Iowa, of late, has at home played pretty well against top 10 teams. It's not a night game where it's different at Kinnick, but Oregon is going to, we're going to see Dan Lanning with desperation because they can't lose another football game and make the playoff. And this is one where people are doubting them, even though they're nearly a touchdown favorite. This seems like a game where Lanning gets his guys ready to play, and they're able to beat Iowa.
When too many people call something a trap game, I no longer think it's a trap game. Because
they're looking for the trap.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the trap game it's supposed to come out of nowhere. You're not supposed to expect it. That's why it's a trap.
Well, that's why I get nervous when everybody is like on Iowa. They're like, this is Iowa. Look at that line, man. You got to take Iowa. Can we get it to 5? They're just, I don't know. It's tough to doubt. It's tough to doubt Oregon until they prove you otherwise. And Iowa playing at home, we're about to find out. Do we know how good Iowa actually is? They have an offense. Give them credit. Their offense is much different under Tim Lester But it's not like Oregon sucks. This is the perfect setting for Dan Lanning. I can't, this will be one of those games where afterwards you can't wait for the duck video to come out to see what he said during the week to get his guys going.
It's almost as if like we have found a way to discredit a lot of like Oregon's victories, even though that they've won the game.
Well, stop listening to what the committee put on the screen and realize that that's the first playoff ranking, and they still have a chance to play Iowa and USC. And how many teams in the country are going, boy, I'd play Oregon today. Look at that, man. I'd play Oregon.
Gary, even when they beat Northwestern by like 30 points, people were like, man, they didn't really look that good. They were still trying to find a way.
Now, they were a little sleepy to begin that game. And then once they woke up, they were like, we can do whatever we want.
Well, Northwestern played really well to begin that game. Okay. The front seven bucked up, and then they bucked up again against Penn State.
Now they got to prove you different, because they were not in sync against Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin's defense much better than their offense, but it was 21-7. So if you didn't watch the game, you looked at the box score and you went, oh,
yeah,
okay, 21-7 on the heels of they got beat by Indiana at home. This is a spot that Dan Lanning thrives in. All right, Brett Ciancia, bottom of the hour. Lee Sterling as well in the hour. Would you like my most important offensive people on Saturday night at the Rose Bowl?
Can I guess?
Yes.
Are they all Nebraska?
Yeah, this is pertains to Nebraska.
Okay. I will go with Hunter, Johnson, Evans, and Pritchett.
Wow, you didn't even throw the quarterback in there.
Oh, and Latif. Okay. I feel like that goes without saying.
So I'm going to go away from the obvious. Like, I think Hunter, if you're playing college football fantasy,
yeah,
Hunter is a guy to pick up. I think the quick game and the screens, the quick screens, I think he's ideal in this kind of game to get Nebraska started, to get them rolling, to get some positivity, to move the sticks, move it down the field. I'm also someone that believes that even though third down defense and third down offense on both sides tell you a pretty distinct story, I think first down is the most important thing for Nebraska offensively. I think they got to move the sticks. They got to get in rhythm. So I think Hunter will be fine. I think Emmett will get 30-plus touches. You're going into a bye week. You need to win the football game no matter what. I'm also of the belief that Latif will be okay. Will he be dynamic? Will he blow you away? That'd be great, but he'll be okay. He won't be the reason why you lose the football game. The most important people to me in this game will be two guys who it was good to hear their status yesterday. I think Nebraska's offensive tackles.
Yeah.
You were talking yesterday about development and, this program developing and wanting money, and can you develop an offensive line? There is no doubt that for Nebraska to take the next step for where they want to go, they need to be better on the bookends, on the offensive line. And they need to be better at tackles. They need to be better at acquiring. They need to be better at developing tackles. And for God's sake, stop playing guards at tackle. Okay. Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
So Nebraska, that needs to be, they've done a good job of prioritizing quarterback play and getting quarterbacks. They need to prioritize tackles, and tackles that are difference makers, not tackles that take up a spot. Okay. And they show up on a depth chart and they get some snaps. They need to find all Big Ten conference tackles to move this program forward. So Saturday night, I don't worry about the interior offensive line from Spindler to Evans, who you brought up, to Latovsky. I don't worry about those guys.
No.
I worry with a quarterback who, by the way, might be a little bit unpredictable, who may just take off, and you're not used to the quarterback in the pocket just all of a sudden bailing and scrambling. So how you block is going to be a little bit different. And remember, Pritchett, he's already blocked for Milroe.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was a little bit of a okay.
Turkey, yeah.
Yes. So I think the tackles actually, to me, are the most important people offensively for Nebraska tomorrow night.
So the reason why I threw Spindler and Evans at you is actually for the kind of
saying Rocco.
Well, I just love Rocco, period. The guy's a football player. All right. I mean,
his dad's an absolute piece of work. Great guy.
but like
he can hammer the beverages.
Well, Gary, you put that tweet about what Rocco's finger looked like, and then the guy was playing I was like, this guy's awesome. So the reason why though I say Rocco and Evans is because you very correctly have identified the weaknesses and said, hey, the weaknesses need to be better. I think they need to identify the strengths and just lean on the strengths, right? And just say, look, the tackles, we would love for you to be great. We would love for you to take the next step, but we are going to win this game in the A gap. We are going to win it on the inside. We are going to lean on 59, 50, and 51. And so that's why I think those guys are important, because I think that to your point, man, if Pritchett plays well and Corcoran plays well, you're like, all right, like you're cooking with peanut oil. But there's a possibility that doesn't happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can even make the argument it's more likely that doesn't happen than it does happen. And in that case, you just got to say, you know what, TJ, like you got to be more amped to move up in the pocket a little bit quicker, because your depth is going to be set, but your width probably won't be. So be more amped to just kind of get in that little space, get in that little pocket, give yourself a little bit more time, lean on the three guys that are in front of you. And then in regards to Emmett, hey, we're gonna run you, we're gonna run you right up the center. We're gonna put you right behind there, and we're gonna pound this ball right down the middle. So that's why I think those two and Latovsky so important, because I don't know how much of this offense I can trust. I really don't. Like, I can trust Emmett, and I can trust those three guys, and I can trust 13.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't.
See, I think Saturday night will be the first time that what we envision in Nebraska's offense will take hold. Now, you have to execute it, and you have to complete passes and move the sticks. I just think this is they're not burdened by some of the things Dylan can't do. And I think they have a new little weapon of things that they'll do differently with mobility and your legs. And they will try some stuff that you'll probably get this on Big Red Overreaction. How come they weren't doing that earlier?
Sure.
I'll
probably end up saying that too, Gary.
I mean, and I think that's exciting. Now, you have to execute it, and Latif has to have ball security. There was twice where he was going out of bounds, and all of a sudden he lost the football. And we know about the big 7-yard loss on the fumble where Nebraska was getting into the red zone. So he's got to do his part, but I think it'll just be – I think you will see Nebraska at times offensively they're clunky and they don't play with rhythm. I think they will play a lot looser. Will it all of a sudden be Riverboat Gambler and they'll be trying some stuff they haven't? Maybe, but it'll be to help Latif early. That's why I think first down is important. You know what? Get 5 on first down. Emmett Johnson, get 5. Latif, get 4. Move the sticks. Keep it in rhythm. If you need to go 10 plays down the field to put points up, hey, that's perfectly fine. We don't need to score in 5. First down more important than third down, because if you get 4 or 5 on first down, you're feeling pretty good. And then all of a sudden, maybe Dana digs into the bag of tricks a little bit and gets a little bit more, okay, UCLA isn't expecting this. That's why I'm okay. I think the offense is going to be looser, and maybe not necessarily the skill set, but the skill set on what he can do with his legs will help open up part of Nebraska's offense. And let's also don't kid yourself. If Nebraska is who they say they are, there are guys that will step up tomorrow night, realizing that they've got to help out as well.
You're spot on with first down, and I think you could say all year first down has been the key to this offense, because they just aren't built as a team that you really trust them to convert 3rd and 12.
And once they get and not necessarily take a loss, or a sack, but let's say it's now 2nd and 8, it's going to be a pass.
It's going to be tough. And
USC was able to run the ball on first down extremely well on Saturday night, and I hope Nebraska can find that formula against UCLA.
I want to ask you a quick question. Maybe if you want to hold on to it and answer in the next segment, because it's a tough one. But I want to ask you this, because you say that Dylan Raiola was some of the things that he couldn't do was a burden on the offense. In your opinion, do you think that some of his skills were more of a burden on the offense than them using the skills he was good at to help the offense?
That's a good question, and I think it's probably a little of both. I think it is. I think Dylan it became very easy to game plan against.
He did, because it became a get to him. It literally became a find a way to get to the quarterback, and they don't have really a good enough protection where that's difficult to do. So you're right, because I brought it up all the time, even before he got hurt. the pressure to sack percentage was terrible. Was terrible because we would have people call in and be like, I want TJ Latifin because he's more of a mobile quarterback, and I would be like, look, Dylan Raiola's a better quarterback, but you couldn't deny the fact that what they were seeing with their eyes was incorrect. It wasn't incorrect. He put himself, he did not get himself out of situations in terms of sacks, and he a lot of times put himself in situations to get sacked. And so that's one of those things where you're right. I mean, it was kind of like, as long as we get pressure to Dylan, this offense isn't going to be able to do anything.
And I thought it became at times, hey, Dylan, just go make a play.
And he can't. I mean, yeah. And he doesn't.
Sometimes it works.
Do it.
Sometimes it doesn't.
But almost when it was working against Minnesota, Gare, I was like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like that the only positive plays that they're getting are him throwing with his left hand and him throwing while he's falling down and stuff like that. Like, it was cool to watch those things, but at the same time, you're like, I almost want you more to just take a 5-step drop and just pin a pass on a guy right away.
Yeah, is this the first time in a year we look at the offense on Saturday night and go, oh, that's what Nebraska was getting with Dana Holgorsen?
No,
creativity. Creativity is the biggest thing.
Creativity, yes.
That's his offense, is creativity.
Yeah, you'll get more creative.
Your answer is yes, it will.
Yes. I was thinking there would be more of a downfield passing game with Dana Holgorsen. And so I don't think TJ Latif is necessarily going to provide that. But in terms of creativity, yeah, I think he's going to have to be. You have to be. And if it's not Gary, they're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
That's just plain and simple. They're going to.
And I think you can do this because, they did it with Dylan. I think you can shelve the deep ball. 10 to 19 yards is the place to live. And maybe it's 3 to 7 yards.
Can they please run a couple slants?
Tight end?
For the love of God, just run a couple slants. They ran a couple slants against Cincinnati, and I feel like they just completely got away from that route concept. Just run a couple slants.
I would like RPOs with ball deception, zone reads where the quarterback keeps it, some pin and pull, maybe some mesh, some middle screens, the middle of the field. I like all those stuff. And maybe you try some things on Saturday night. That's why I think they'll be loose. I think you'll see a head coach and his OC that are a little bit looser on the sidelines,
and a little
trying some things that they probably can't get away with Dylan.
And I don't know if you saw this graph, but it was a cool graph of teams that use motion and then teams that put the ball into the guy who's motioning, like who give the ball to the dude who's actually doing the motion. Nebraska was one of the lower percentage teams in terms of how often they gave the ball to the motion guy. But they were a very heavy motion offense. It's almost like every other snap they're using some sort of motion. I would like it because they've been doing that a lot, Gary, where they send the motion guy, but they don't give it to him. I don't know, maybe get UCLA on their toes and actually give the ball to the motion guy, because I think that they're expecting, hey, Dana likes to use motion, a lot of window dressing. They're just trying to send two across the way, give it to him. Send 13 across the way, give it to him. Do a little orbit with Mosey, pitch it out to him, get blockers on the outside, let him use his wide receiver skills. I'd like them to use the motion man a little bit more in this game.
All right, take a quick break. We'll come back. Brett Ciancia, Lee Sterling still to come in this hour. Matt Stevens from the UCLA Radio Network has got some thoughts on where UCLA football is going and where they might look. USA Today yesterday projected that Tony White would be the next head football coach at UCLA.
That was one I saw a couple weeks ago too. Almost happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And then Matt Rule said, "Hey, you should check on the NIL program there." And Tony said, "Nah, I'm good. And also Nebraska and UCLA don't play next year, so it wouldn't be uncomfortable.
I kind of want the uncomfortability. I think that'd be fun. I'd love to see T. White again.
All right, Matt Stevens will join us coming up at 9:20 on a Football Friday Fiesta with Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Morning clouds give way to mostly sunny skies for your Friday afternoon. More mild and breezy with a high today in Omaha of 65, but gusts out of the west-northwest up to 25 miles an hour. Tonight, increasing clouds with a 20% of overnight showers. For your Saturday, impact weather mostly cloudy with a 50% chance of rain and snow showers. Accumulation not likely for the Omaha metro, though you might see trace amounts on grassy surfaces.
1620, The Zone. Traffic.
Good Friday morning. There's delays on northbound JFK from F to I-80, the North Freeway traveling southbound from coming to I-480, and on North I-680 on the entrance ramp to the westbound Dodge Expressway. The good news is there's no accidents to report at this time, but if that changes, I'll keep you updated throughout the rest of the morning. Just be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Broncos.
At Broncos, try our delicious whole pork tenderloin sandwich. It's breaded fresh daily and deep fried to crispy perfection, topped with pickles. Or get it deluxe with lettuce, tomato, and tangy Bronco sauce. The pork tenderloin at Broncos, where quality rides.
Have you been injured in an accident? You shouldn't have to fight with insurance companies or deal with medical bills alone. You need an experienced injury lawyer who'll protect your rights while you focus on healing. At Chandler Conway, our team understands the legal process and will handle your case with dedication. Our goal is simple: to secure the compensation you deserve. Call us today or visit chandlerconway.com for a free consultation. Don't face this challenge alone. Let us support you every step of the way.
Fall's here, and just like your favorite football team, your home needs a strong defense. Don't let a broken furnace cost you more than a free agent signing. Skransky Heating and Cooling has kept Omaha homes like yours comfortable. Their playbook? A fast, reliable furnace system check that keeps your home warm, safe, and game day ready. Call Skransky Heating and Cooling today and schedule your furnace check before the cold takes the field. Get details at heatomaha.com. Skransky, your home comfort MVP. Husker Preview Friday is powered by McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Looking for trusted experts to protect and enhance your home or business? We are McKinnis, and Iowa's go-to choice since 1981. For commercial or residential projects, trust McKinnis Roofing and Sheet Metal. Visit McKinnisInc.com today.
Are you making these two deadly mistakes with your emergency food supply? The first mistake is not having an emergency food supply to begin with. The second mistake is buying an emergency food supply, but not having a way to cook the meal. That's why My Patriot Supply created the Black Friday Survival Special. It comes with the 4-week food supply, plus $150 worth of free gifts, including everything you need to prepare your emergency meals, like a cook stove, fuel, fire starters, plus a water purifier, bug out bag, and more. It's the complete survival kit your family needs to ride out natural disasters, civil unrest, or worse. Plus, it makes a great Christmas gift, but it's only available through Black Friday. So head over to mypatriotsupply.com to check out everything that's included. With all the uncertainty in the world, disaster preparedness is more important than ever. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and get prepared today. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
If you're already rocking with this is time to turn up. Power 106.9, Omaha's #1 for hip hop and hits. We're talking Drake, Cardi B,
This sound like Cardi today.
Kendrick.
They not like us.
And all the biggest names in the game. Plus, exclusive remixes, throwbacks, and the dopest DJs. Powered by NRG Media Omaha. We bring you the energy, the culture, and the sound of the city. Lock in to Power 106.9.
Email unsportsmanlike conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Now, back to Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, not being a honk here, but do you think Nebraska volleyball will lose a set before December?
Probably.
Just by you can't go that long. 43 straight sets they've won, 14 straight sweeps. Andy Jackson was perfect last night.
If we're playing the math, Yeah, they got to, right? I mean, there's no way. I mean, they got to slip up once.
You would think maybe USC or UCLA, and USC has already sold out the Gallon Center. They're going to have 7K. They're going to have a record. Omaha volleyball or Nebraska volleyball is making money for the other Big Ten schools. I imagine there are requests in the Big Ten office. Hey, can you have Nebraska play at our place next year? We got to make a little money with volleyball. Maybe, but Danny Busboom Kelly said last night, they're just preparing to be pushed, and it's not happening. It is dominance. Dominance is never boring. Dominance should be rewarded, and it should be appreciated. And what Nebraska volleyball is doing right now, they are sucking the life out of teams, and they're doing it sometimes with their second string. I mean, it's a hell of a run to be 23-0 and 43 straight sets they've won.
Dumb question. Do you think it would benefit them if they were to lose a match before the tournament, just for them to? Okay, I knew you. I knew I was going to get that
in there.
I knew I was going to get that reaction out of you. I think you probably are a no, correct? I mean, it doesn't.
I will say if they lose, they've gone up against somebody that played really, really well, and it wasn't because Nebraska had an off night. I don't think they're built with the mindset from the head coach down to have one of those. What was it, SMU last year?
Yeah.
One of those hiccups that you go, how did they ever? I just don't think this team, because they're too deep.
Yeah.
Somebody's having a bad night. They're sitting on the bench, or they're standing next to the bench. They're so deep, and they embrace being dominant. And I think probably internally they go, yeah, we don't want to drop a set. This is kind of fun. Let's see how long this is going to go. But inevitably they're going to drop one. And you just hope that from here on out they don't drop three.
Well, another thing, too, is I think they already had that hiccup against Kentucky, and exactly what you mentioned happened, where one of their starters didn't play well, and then they just switched him out for somebody, on the bench, and then they ended up winning that game in 5 sets. So I think they already have their we played bad hiccup, and they still won that game.
Yeah, you look at the remaining schedule. I mean, there is Penn State, there is the trip out west, but there's really, and the Big Ten. Big Ten's kind of down this year.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because Nebraska is just destroying everybody. But it doesn't have Wisconsin, Penn State, Nebraska being like 3 of the top 5 teams. I don't know. They're a wagon. They're an absolute wagon, and we should appreciate dominance instead of going, whoa, this is boring. There is nothing boring about a Choi Boy night and a Andy Jackson slide.
Slide queen. I saw a chart before the Thursday game that was they were a 99% shot at winning the Big Ten, and they had a 72% chance of going undefeated in the Big Ten, which is wild. Wild that number is that high, that they cannot lose a game in the Big Ten. It's crazy. I think when that class came in of Harper Murray and Andy Jackson and all them and Bergen Riley, the expectations were really high, rightfully so. Somehow that they are currently right now, exceeding those expectations in the regular season. They still got to get it done, though, in the postseason.
Yeah. But it looks like they would have a manageable path. I don't know who's beating them. I do not know who's beating them. They hit 488 last night. All right, Brett Ciancia from Pick Six Previews coming up. Lee Sterling as well. I'm off to battle the Friday FFA shutdown at airports around the country from Dallas to Denver. Follow along. We'll see if we make it.
Have fun. Hopefully you don't have to get a horse and buggy or, rent a bunch of cars, drive out there or anything like that. I hope you have a safe travel.
Yeah, thank you. Goodbye to West Texas. I'll be back in studio on Tuesday. Have a great call tonight. Have a good Big Red Overreaction. Enjoy the game, everybody. On Saturday night, have a great weekend. Again, Brett Ciancia will break it all down with Matt and Jimmy coming up next.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Host is roasting every
Gary and Matt here on 1620 Zone. Gary out for the rest of the show on his way to Fort Collins as the Omaha Mavericks are on the road to begin the basketball season. They lost to Abilene Christian yesterday in a great game, and we'll talk about that later in the show. But now it's a Friday football fiesta, baby, and because of that, we bring in the man, the myth, the legend, the creator of Pick Six Previews, and the man who does Pick Six Plus that comes out every Tuesday in your email box if you are subscribed, Mr. Brett Ciancia. Brett, how are you, my man? Where are you at right now?
Hey, Matt, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. I'm on my annual football road trip here. I'm out in West Texas this weekend here out in the Permian Basin right now for Friday Night Lights, seeing Permian High go against Odessa for the district title.
Nice.
And then tomorrow heading up to Lubbock for College Game Day in Texas Tech BYU. So we hit a home run with this road trip of the year, and can't wait to break it down and show it off on Twitter a little bit.
That is awesome. Hey, this is going to be a hell of a game. But before we get to the BYU Texas Tech game, I got to ask you, yesterday, Wisconsin announced that they have full faith in Luke Fickell, and he will be the head coach next season, along with reports that they are going to make some more investment in their NIL fund and put more money toward football. Your reaction to that is what, Brett?
Well, I'm kind of shocked by it because they're one of the worst teams in Power 4 right now. I mean, they really struggled. This is year 3 for them under Luke Fickell. I thought that he missed on his offensive coordinator hire, going away from what worked for 25 years at Wisconsin, the 3 yards in a cloud of dust, the running game, went away from it with that fast-paced spread offense, and that really backfired. So I thought that's enough to maybe move on. And Wisconsin doesn't have losing seasons very often. I mean, most of my lifetime watching and covering college football, they've been successful. So this is a low point for them. We'll see. Maybe that investment can get them a better roster for next year, but I thought that was one of the spots that would move on in this big coaching carousel.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big coaching carousel indeed, and it seemed like that spot might have been, made for Pat Fitzgerald, who was making his rounds yesterday in the ESPN car wash, doing all these different shows and whatnot, but they decided to stick with Fickell. It'll be interesting to see how that roster building and construction looks like with him kind of with his back against the wall. But enough about that, enough about the offseason. We have plenty of time to talk about the portal and coaching carousel and everything like that. Let's talk about the games, baby. Texas Tech, BYU, you will be there tomorrow. I call this the pumpkin patch slate, Brett. I mean, it's one of those where it's just not the most enticing, but this game is the main event. BYU done a great job with the turnover margins. They've caused 16 turnovers this season, plus 10 in the turnover differential. But this, Texas Tech has some dudes. And if Baron Morton's playing tomorrow, it could be a very interesting game and a potential for BYU to lose their 0. How are you looking at it, Brett?
Yeah, well, first with BYU, they've been very resilient this year. A lot of close wins. 3 of their wins recently have been by comebacks of double-digit points. They came back against Arizona, came back against Utah, and then last week against Iowa State with the pick 6 to flip the game. So they've been really good at finding ways to win. With Texas Tech, the margins are better. All 7 of their wins are by 23-plus points. Average yardage for them is plus 300 a game. They're just an absolute machine. So, a stat giant of the season. And when you look at Texas Tech's defense, I know a lot has thought of their offense. Look at the defense. They have the nation's sack leader in David Bailey and the nation's forced fumble leader with Jacob Rodriguez. He's already forced 7, on pace for an FBS record. So this defense, this front 7, is one of the best in the country. They're going to attack this BYU line. I think they're going to rattle that true freshman quarterback, Bear Bachmeier, a little bit. So I'm going Texas Tech to win handedly. I think you're going to get Morton at quarterback. And I'm going to go Texas Tech by 13, 14 points here.
Brett, why are we hating on Oregon? Why have they become they might be the fraudulent team out of the bunch here when it comes to college football?
Yeah, well, college football fans and media, they're very, what have you done for me recently? What have you done for me last week? So the way that Oregon's schedule is lined up, it's very backloaded. They're set to face 3 ranked teams in November alone. They got Iowa, they got USC, and Washington. So Oregon's playoff fate and really the storyline of their season, that'll be determined here in November. So far, so good. They're 7-1 or 6-1. The big win in the whiteout back when Penn State was number 3 in the country. And then they played Indiana tough. I mean, no moral victories, but that was one of Indiana's closest matchups. So I think with Oregon, you have a solid team both sides of the ball. In fact, their pass game is the difference in this one because that's what Iowa lacks. Every other unit in this game is strong. both defenses, both pass rushes, good offensive line play. It's just that Oregon has a downfield pass game that Iowa doesn't. So in a tight game, I'm going to go with Oregon here, going into Iowa City. It's going to be soggy. It's going to be Big Ten weather out there, but I think Oregon wins it.
Interesting matchup here between Texas A&M and Missouri. Missouri will be starting a true freshman quarterback in his first start, Matt Zollers, against this really aggressive Texas A&M defense. But if you kind of look at some of the things that Mizzou has done well this season, you're just going by the numbers. This might be a closer matchup than the 6.5 points that Vegas is giving the Tigers. But do you think that Texas A&M continues their run and continues to be one of the teams we look at to win the national championship this Saturday?
Yeah, I'll say whenever there's a big quarterback injury, it's always tough to handicap and to forecast it. And then this is one example this week, along with Nebraska themselves, with Latif coming in against UCLA. When you haven't seen him for a full game, you don't know what the game plan is going to look like with the new guy. So you have to almost temporarily downgrade the team a little bit until you see it. So I'm going to go A&M. But you're right about Missouri, though. Everything else on the roster is pretty solid. I love their running back duo, Ahmad Hardy, a tough runner. And they keep signing these top 10 transfer classes. You can see that and say that on paper, but when you watch them, they really look elite on the defensive line. These are big bodies. These are NFL guys. So they're going to give A&M a run for their money. But with the uncertainty at quarterback, I still have to lean with Marcel Reed and A&M. So I'll go with them to go in there and win.
You know, it's been a fun college football year because there have been matchups where you go, wow, this is really big. And I don't think people are anticipating the playoff implications of Vanderbilt, Texas, right? But then you look at some matchups we've had this year, like Ohio State, Penn State, where you thought it was going to be really, really big, and it just didn't because of things that happened. We have another one of those on the docket this week. LSU takes on Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Do you think that LSU gets an interim head coach bump here, Brett, or do you think Alabama, who is another one of those teams in the SEC who I think can legitimately win the national title, do they roll over the Tigers?
Yeah, that's another one. Another uncertainty is the coach effect, because when you fire a coach and then you go into a bye week, that double whammy, that's 2 weeks of a new interim, a new staff, a new either motivation or a decline in the locker room. It's stuff that you can't forecast for. We have no idea what's going on behind those doors. So LSU might come out looking like the 5-star players that they were recruited as, or it could be a team that has quit. There's no way of knowing. I'll tell you that Alabama, that's a team that really needed a bye week. They were coming off all those 4 straight SEC ranked wins. Got the 5th one against South Carolina, really a gauntlet for them. So they needed this break, this bye week. I think they're going to come out refreshed. I'll go Alabama, but I think that 11 points is too much. I think that the talent level on LSU is just enough to probably stay within a score or 10 points. So I'll go, it's kind of a cop-out. I'll go Alabama to win, but I'm going to think LSU is going to cover that number.
Were you a 14 playoff guy, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, one of the few and the proud, the 4-team playoff defenders. Now the playoff has tripled, but I always love the sanctity of the regular season.
Sure.
I will say, though, that nowadays more teams are involved in November.
Yeah.
It adds a lot of new stake to some games that in the past wouldn't have mattered as much. So, pros and cons for sure.
I was an 8-team playoff guy, which I guess was never even on the table. But that's how I felt. But the like you said, the benefit of the 12-team playoff is that you have these teams who are super competitive in November that in the past wouldn't have been. And the reason why I asked you that question is the lead up to a game where, we have the rankings in a way because you want the casual football fan to say, oh, wow, number 17 is playing number 10. That's going to be a really, really good game that has implications on the year. But we have a game that has major implications on the college football playoff that neither team has numbers next to them. Memphis and Tulane take each other on here. Tulane, this line has moved a little bit, Brett. It was 4.5. It's now moved down to 3.5. A really interesting matchup. Styles make fights, and we'll see. Tulane, they had to sit down their quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, last game because of some of the mistakes that he's made. But we'll see. Memphis, they've looked good at sometimes. They've looked not so good at other times. How do you see this game that is going to have some big implications in the AAC?
Yeah, you're right about that, because with this expanded bracket, one of those spots is reserved, obviously, for our top G5 champion. And for that title, nobody wants to hold that title for a week, it seems. It seems to be passed around team to team. I think all the way back to August, it was Boise was the projected favorite. Then USF beat them in the opener. And then they went and lost a couple games. Miami beat them. And So at times we were thinking maybe Tulane, maybe Memphis, maybe Navy was undefeated.
Yep.
Maybe it would go over to the Sun Belt even with JMU. But I think you have two of the best here with Memphis and Tulane. Memphis did take a bad loss to UAB. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the home team here. And yeah, you're right about a little quarterback concern with Tulane. We'll see about Retzloff. I know he gets involved in the run game a lot of rushing yards, a lot of rushing touchdowns. Yeah, I'll go home team here. We'll see if someone can hold it for a week, this G5 title.
Okay, we will. I like I said before, is there any game specifically before we go to UCLA, Nebraska that you really want to talk about that maybe we haven't hit because just the slate isn't that great? It's not the best slate in the world. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a couple that in the preview magazine business, I'm really keeping an eye on, like TCU, Iowa State. TCU was a team I had in my top 25 that no one else had. So a little investment in the Horned Frogs.
Sure.
We'll see if they come out and win. And they're still in the Big 12 race, barely. I mean, they're hanging on by a thread.
Everybody is
another. Yeah, right. Another weird one that no one's really looking at, but could be important, is UVA Wake Forest. And UVA sitting there with one loss, going up against a great defense, Wake Forest,
And
although
Wake-
they were lit up last week.
Wake has been making waves, man. I mean, they
Yeah.
very sneakily have been playing some very good football over there.
Yeah, so those are the kind of games that when you look back on this week, you might be like, wow, actually the playoff did get shook up, at least in the ACC or the AAC or somewhere like that. So it's where you least expect it.
Okay, love it from you, Brett. Now, main event here. We always bring you on. We always got to ask you about the Nebraska football game last week. It was tough. Morale was pretty low after, Brett. I did the post-game show. It was a lot of people thought that Nebraska had that game, that they were finally going to break the defeated streak, the 29 straight games, losing to ranked opponents. But Dylan Raiola goes down. He's out for most of the second half. TJ Lateef, freshman quarterback, steps into a tough situation. Can't get it done. But now they go ahead on the road to a UCLA team that it seems like the Jerry Neuhausel and Tim Skipper interim head coach boost has kind of worn off a bit. How do you think this game plays out in California?
Yeah, and I think you're right that they had a shot to win it last week against USC. That was a measuring stick type game. You get a few every year to see where the program has come, how it's been developed, and I thought pass defense-wise was really strong for Nebraska. They held USC to their lowest quarterback rating in a decade, lowest passing yardage since 2018. Like, this was an impressive pass defense performance against the number one offense in the country. 14-6 after halftime, got the pick off of Mayava. I thought it was really going to be a turning point for Nebraska, but come up a little short. You know, there's still some opportunities here in November. But with UCLA, this is one where I saw that the Vegas flipped it over to UCLA as the favorite. I still have Nebraska favored with my numbers here, and that's even with a slight downgrade, like I talked about with the quarterback, a little uncertainty. You know, Lateef might be amazing, but I just want to see the guy for one whole game before I can accurately depict it. So for now, I downgraded Nebraska slightly, but even that downgrade still has them favored in this one for me. So I like Nebraska to go out west and get a W here, bounce back against UCLA. And people want to only talk about the quarterback spot, but you got to look at this defense for Nebraska. And I think they're going to shut down Nico and the Jerry Neuheisel system here. I think you're right that the allure has worn off. People have figured them out a bit. So I think you're going to get a Nebraska W here.
Brett, as always, thank you so much. We always love talking to you and hearing your opinions. And this college football season, it's been a great mix of craziness and also too, you got the Blue Bloods who are at the top.
Yep, and still plenty more to come in November. So I can't wait to keep breaking it down with you every Friday, and have a good one, guys.
You are the man, Brett Ciancia. Then this is the best 30 minutes of this show, because we go from Brett Ciancia of Pick Six Previews, giving us all the games, giving us how we should look at it from a just regular national, college football perspective. And then we bring in our man, Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports Plus, to tell us how can we make money on these games, and not just the college football games, but also the NFL games as well. Lee, bit of a rough week. It happens. We're goldfish, right? We have short-term memory. Ted Lasso,
right.
We're not thinking about it. How are we doing, my man?
Well, it's been tough here also. In the last week, my bank account got hacked and my website got hacked.
Oh, my God,
So-
Lee.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. That's insane.
So crazy. We were able to overcome it. So
Okay.
the website was back after 4 hours. Literally happened in a half hour. after I finished your show last Friday. So it was mayhem here. So that's like everything. Nebraska's got to negotiate with a backup quarterback. We had to do it, getting the website back and taking calls. And people thought I was packing it in after a rare losing week.
Hey, speaking about backup quarterbacks, it's the perfect segue because Missouri has a backup quarterback against Texas A&M, one of the best teams in the country. Zollers will be in there for Missouri. But you look at some of these numbers, Lee. I mean, Missouri does some things well as a team that A&M has struggled at this year. I think a lot of people are going to be tempted at this number. Texas A&M is a 7-point favorite. How are you looking at it?
And it's down to 6.5. Public loves Missouri. And I think I watched a film on Matt Zollers. I think he's going to be very good. 2029 draft alert. He's a first rounder. His arm is live. He is good. Problem here, not much of a runner. And I think you need a dual threat quarterback to attack this A&M defense. And he does stare down receivers a little bit. It's going to take some time there. I mean, you can't expect him to all of a sudden come out and be incredible as a true freshman. His star receiver, tight end, H-back, whatever you want to call him, Brett Norfleet, game time decision with a shoulder injury. The top 4 guys after him average just between 8 and 12 yards of reception. So what does that mean? You got to have these 8, 10, 12 play drives. And when that happens, more than likely, you're going to get a couple penalties. You're going to get maybe an interception or a fumble every second or third possession. And that's a problem against A&M. They got 2 receivers, Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion. They're averaging between 15 and almost 18 yards of reception. And if you think all of a sudden Eli Drinkwitz is going to pull off the upset, Florida's looking at him as maybe their top candidate. He's 0-6 straight up versus top 10 teams. I think A&M stays unbeaten, 28-17.
I don't know how much of a horse guy you are, Lee, when it comes to betting.
Not much.
But, they always say when there's a sloppy track, you got to throw away the race book.
Right.
And here's a sloppy track at Kinnick Stadium.
Yep.
Iowa takes on Oregon. Oregon, you have it at 5.5 a point favorite. I've seen some books have it at 6.5 points for Oregon. Iowa's kind of been a sexy pick for the public. How are you looking at it, Mr. Sterling?
They are, but remember this, Eugene, Oregon, rains literally 30 out of 31 days in the month. So it's not like they're not going to be used to it. If you watched Oregon, their game against Penn State, when Penn State was at full health in Happy Valley, they dominated for 3 quarters. For some reason, they relaxed. They looked, for one point, like one of the best teams in the country. Iowa's improved offense, at least 25 points, 5 of the last 7 games. That game, though, last week, 41 versus Minnesota, 274 total yards. That's it. Kind of fueled by those 3 turnovers. I like Tim Lester. Big improvement as their offensive coordinator in his second year. But I just think Oregon, their top 3 running backs average between 6.9 and 9.9 yards per carry, and the receivers can take the top off of a defense. I just think big plays are going to be the difference here. I like the Ducks here. Ducks are great in water, 27-16.
Penn State took on Ohio State at the Shoe last week, and it seemed like for the first 2 quarters they had some fight, they had some drive, but then Ohio State made it very clear, hey, we were just playing with our food, shut the door on them, dominated in the second half. Indiana, a team that a lot of people think are the best team in the country, Lee. I don't know about you, but they are a 16-point favorite against Penn State.
I would agree with that right now. I mean, Julian Sand, incredible. What he's doing. Completing 80% of his passes, number 1 QBR rating, and Sand hasn't thrown an interception since week 3. Their receivers were just too good for the Penn State DBs. Now, Indiana has Surratt. He's great.
Yeah.
He'd be in the top 3 at Ohio State. But other than that, I'm not that impressed with the other receivers. And games in Happy Valley, they could have covered last week. They were just going for touchdowns. They weren't in for kicking field goals in the fourth quarter. Penn State games at home, they can run the football. Good game. Indiana wins 31-21. Nittany Lions cover.
Nice. It's standard stuff. We always like it when it's nice and easy like that. All right. Let me tell you a game that probably won't be nice and easy. It's Nebraska versus UCLA. That total is really, really low, one of the lowest totals of the year for Nebraska, and that's because they have a backup quarterback. And you have a UCLA team where this interim head coach magic might be wearing off. Lee, do the Huskers bounce back, or does UCLA still continue this sort of magical run they've been on since firing Deshaun Foster?
Well, it just shows you got to have a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And it is important. I'll never forget this in high school. You learn lessons. You learn about life in football. I went to my high school coach and I said, listen, it's a pretty big game coming up. Why can't I return punts? He said, Leo, call me Leo. He said, Leo, I got 8 running backs. 5 are going to Division I schools or 1AA schools at the time. He goes, I only have 1 quarterback. I don't have a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
We had a guy literally standing in the corner pulling lint out of his belly button. So it was that bad. So, it's unfortunate that he went down, but you got to prepare for these moments. UCLA they got housed against Indiana in their last game, but they're going to, if I'm them, I stack the box, 7, 8-man boxes here, make Latif beat you. From what I've seen, probably can't do it, but they've got a week to prepare. Game I'm not touching for my clients, but I like UCLA 27-20.
All right, here's the marquee matchup, right? And probably the matchup that's going to get ESPN to negotiate with YouTube TV and finally get a deal done, because this is every year we get some marquee games that, despite of what you thought in the preseason, that they're going to have some big impacts in the NFC. Packers take on the Philadelphia Eagles. 2.5-point favor of the Packers.
Should be a great game.
Should be an
and
awesome game.
I got calls all last week. People to come over, and I said, well, I only have 5 seats in the man cave. And they're like, we're okay with the floor. So got to help people out in trying times. I understand it. Green Bay's one of these teams that's a zigzag team. They look great one week, a couple weeks ago against Pittsburgh. Horrible last week in the loss to Carolina. But I think that Matt LaFleur, great game planner, great game playing when he's on, and same with Jordan Love. I think they're going to be ready to go, and I like the fact that their receivers are starting to get separation. They weren't early in the year. And this Philadelphia team, a lot of people love to bet on teams that make acquisitions the first week, and they got a couple guys going to help their defense, but it's usually the second week where they do their best work here. I like the Packers here. 28-24 should be a great game.
I just love the idea of you housing people to make sure that they can watch football. I think that's so funny. That's greatly. Now, your game of the week, Texas Tech, BYU, probably the game of the week for either Saturday or Sunday in college football in the NFL, because the slate for both sides really isn't all that good. Unfortunately, this game is played at 11 a.m. and not 7 o'clock at night. But Tech, we think they're getting their quarterback back. We think. I mean, so Baron Morton should be ready to go. They got one of the best D lines in the country. But then you look at the other side. We think BYU will have LJ Martin as their running back. I mean, this is a tough game to pick here, Lee. It's your game of the week. So how can people find what the expert is looking at and what the expert is picking?
First 5 callers. Call 800-400-9741. We'll give them Tech and BYU. I think there's a clear right side to this game. And 800-400-9741. Excited about the weekend. Had a 4-3 Saturday, 3-2 Sunday, and hit both action games this week. So anyone wants to hop on board, we have not November, call it Dovember, from tonight all the way through the end of the month. 4 weeks of action. Normally $497. If they use coupon code SAVE200, just $297. One place, ParamountSports.com.
Look, you know what they say about horses: when they have an off race, they're just bound to bounce back and run even faster.
Right.
You are our gambling thoroughbred, so I'm sure that you are going to have a big week. Appreciate you so much, Lee, from Paramount Sports. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
See you, Lee. Money. The sportsbook needs a bounce back too. I think everybody was a rough week on the pockets last weekend. We won't talk about that, though. Nebraska football plays tomorrow in a game that, look, Gary said it, and Gary's kind of right, that not every game is a referendum on the program. I don't know. This one might be. This one's a pretty big game where you're going to find out a lot, not only about the players, you're going to find out a lot about the headsets. So we'll talk about that next year on Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. tomorrow at 8 o'clock, the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Oh, thought you meant in the morning. I was like,
no, 8 p.m.
Slow down there.
No, let me tell you something right now. I'm sleeping tomorrow.
Good.
All right.
You need sleep.
I'm going to sleep. 8 p.m. Tim Brando on the call.
How do you do?
Yeah, no thank you. Gary did tease that that there was a website that you can use to sync your TV.
Oh, that kind of website.
No, stop it.
I don't know. I'm reading the comments.
So,
I'm trying to keep
because look, I think that a lot of people have listened to enough Tim Brando. No offense.
the third game this year.
Third game this year.
It's impressive
with Tim Brando. And look, some people are a fan of Tim. I think Tim was a fan of Tim. You know, there's things in doses, right? There's just some people who are good in doses. Admittingly, I'm probably one of those people who are good in doses.
Every
Tim
Monday through
Brando,
Friday from 6 to 10.
3 games. Look, one game was enough. Okay. 2 games was plenty. 3 games, I'm okay.
We're just trolling now.
So Sync My Game by Learfield.com. Learfield.com/Sync My Game is what Gary was referring to in terms of a tool you can use to go ahead and sync your TV, sync your radio.
Ironically,
to your
Nebraska's not
TV.
Learfield. That's funny.
So you have to use like a device like a smartphone or a laptop or a smart speaker to do it. But this is a good Kyle Crooks game. I will be listening to Kyle Crooks. I've been impressed with Mr. Crooks and the play-by-play that he's done for the Huskers this season. He's got an awesome color commentator and Damon Benning right next to him. Those two,
I know him.
man, they've created some really good chemistry right off the bat. And I think that they've been playing off of each other very well this season. So that's what Gary was tease people. He goes, I got a way for you to sync your game. It's Learfield.com/Sync My Game, and you're able to put your radio dial up to your TV. Because this might be a game where, look, you know, we don't hate Tim Brando. I'm not saying I don't hate anybody really.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You know,
except
I'm not a very hateful.
Gigamags.
Well, you know what? Good point. Detroit Lions definitely on the hate list. But yeah, it's a good Kyle Crooks game. 8 o'clock tomorrow. But don't forget to tune into Severe Reaction, which is every Sunday morning throughout the Husker football season. It's hosted by the one, the only Michael Severe. He's going to break down everything that happened in this Saturday's matchup between Nebraska and UCLA. It'll go from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 1620 The Zone. It's brought to you by Equitable Bank and Nebraska Medicine.
Somebody I relate very much to after your crossover conversation the other day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's awesome. Michael's one of the most important people in my career. It's always I always enjoy listening to Severe Reaction because, like he says on the promo, he gives some pretty fair takes on what happened with the game, and there are very few people that are better in terms of using those advanced
It
statistics.
might be the
like
best
Michael.
damn show on the station.
It's
which is not knocking the other shows.
It's
That's
pretty
just
damn
showing
good.
love to
It's a great 2 hours, and I think he might have Steven Sipple at 9 o'clock, which is always a great interview. But if he doesn't, he'll have Jay Foreman, which is also another great interview. But
he could have the
between
homeless
those two
guy
guys-
outside on, and I'd listen.
So don't forget to tune into that. All right, tomorrow.
All right.
It's so important, man. Tomorrow's game.
You're kind of poo-pooing this Saturday in general. You know, we only have so many of these left.
But no, I'm being honest.
I know,
Like, it
but
is not-
sometimes those turn out to be your best Saturdays.
Well, so that's a good point because
It's gonna be cold and windy tomorrow?
To my college football podcast, and they said the same exact same thing that you're saying, that when you have these weeks where it's not as great of matchups as you think to be, they actually end up being the craziest slates. But I mean, I'm just saying from a vanilla perspective, like the closest spread in the NFL is 1.5, and that's Jacksonville versus Houston. Everything else is kind of just a bit of a dumpster fire. Now, New England, Tampa Bay, that will be a good game. But other than that, on Sunday, you really don't have anything you're hanging your hat on. That the Rams and Niners, but there's 2 good games. I'm going to tell you right now, am I going to be paying attention at all to Cleveland versus the New York Jets? No. Am I going to be paying attention at all to Buffalo versus Miami? No, not in particular.
I will be. Let's
Am
go
I paying
James Cook.
attention to New Orleans versus Carolina? No, not really. I think Carolina's going to win that game and go to 6-4. Am I paying attention to Atlanta and Indianapolis? No, I'm not, because it's on at 8:30, and I don't do international games.
You need sleep.
Screw that.
You need
so,
sleep.
But
You're just a growing boy.
for Nebraska football, tomorrow is so important because, and look, rightfully so, when we begin this season, we think about the players, right? We think about what players could they acquire in the transfer portal, what true freshmen could potentially play well, and what players last year that are returning to next year are going to take steps and improve and make this team better, right? This is, I mean, it's the players who are on the field. It's a player-centric sport. Every sport's a player-centric sport. You got to have the dudes. But tomorrow is not necessarily all about the players. Tomorrow is about the headsets, okay? And it's not about the headsets on Saturday specifically. It's about the headsets and what they've done over the last 2.5 years at Nebraska football. Because this isn't just about, hey, how are you game planning with TJ Lateef? How are you going to change the playbook a little bit? How are you going to call the plays and manicure it more toward him? It's not just about that, right? It's not just about how are you going to get Emmett going and how much are you going to lean on him and the distributions of runs capacity. It's not about that. It's about the talent that you acquired in year one and the talent you acquired year two and the money that you've spent from years past in the transfer portal and the talent not only that you acquired, but the talent that you've also developed and the players that you've helped to get better. This is going to be an all hands on deck game. Okay. All of the work that Nebraska football has put in terms of acquiring players, developing players, coaching players, getting them ready for this moment, because you cannot lean on your QB. You can't. You can't.
You shouldn't have to.
It is not a game where you could just say, and there have been moments this season where Nebraska has put the ball in the hands of 15 and they've said, go win us the game. And credit to the kid. He went out and he did it. He did it against Maryland. He did it against Michigan State. He did it against Northwestern.
Well, what you're saying is it needs to be a team victory
tomorrow.
Which would be exciting. That would get people fully.
And tomorrow,
all
can't
three
do
facets.
that. You can't do that. You can't. It's a freshman quarterback in his first Power 4 start. You cannot put the ball in his hands and say with 100% trust, hey, go ahead and win us this game. And so when you mention it's a team game, it's a team
Mike
victory.
Eckler game.
That
Defense
is to me a description and a visual of what Matt Rule has done and the work that Matt Rule not only has put in over this week, but has put in over the last couple of years. I would go ahead and I was a good student in high school, wasn't the best student.
Shout out you.
But, we would have finals. And my dad would say to me, he goes, Matt, I know you're cramming, but it's 9:00 and your test is in about 12
Yeah, if you
hours.
don't know it now, you're not going to know.
He goes, if you don't know it now, right? And he goes, the work, by the way, for you to do well on your test, it didn't start on Monday. It didn't start yesterday.
No.
It started 3 months ago
So
when
here-
they handed you the first homework assignment. And
Take
you
a hit out of
decided,
this and relax.
Exactly. Started with the first homework assignment when you said, hey, I'm going to do this really well and I'm going to learn this lesson. And then it began with the next one, and the next one, and the next one.
As my coach told me at KU, the hay's in the barn.
The result of tomorrow's game did not start on Sunday when Nebraska found out TJ Lateef was going to be the starting quarterback of this game. The result of this game was decided months and months and months ago when they decided to acquire Isaiah Hunter and Dane Key and Elijah Pritchett, and they got TJ Lateef from California. And
You're saying trust your preparation.
Exactly. The work to win this game tomorrow started when Cam Lenhart and Keona Davis started preparing for this season with Terry Braden. The result of tomorrow's game was decided when Emmett Johnson started putting in work with Makai Nelson and Isaiah Mosey to become better running backs. Everything that we don't know what the result of tomorrow is going to be, but tomorrow will be the culmination of what has everything else been doing while Dylan Raiola has been improved, because he improved and there have been games where they won and they did it, and they did it off of his back.
Right. If it goes bad, you've got some other questions to
You
talk
have some
about late
major
tomorrow.
questions.
You'll
Of
have
like
fun.
what exactly?
You and John.
And look, if they were playing Ohio State or they were playing Oregon or they were playing one of these really, really good teams, look, at that point, that's tough. That's tough sledding. But you're not. You are playing a UCLA team that
In a stadium that'll be at least half or more than half red.
look, you're playing a UCLA team that should not beat you. Okay, that is not is not nearly as healthy as you are healthy and has not been. They fired their head coach. All right. They have not been on the path. They have not been on a good path.
Nebraska's facing a new Heisel like the good old days.
Exactly. They haven't been on a good path, and they should not, be able to just. Nebraska's in a spot where they're playing a team that even without their starting quarterback, the talent that is around them and the resources that they've put in, not only to the athletes, but to the head coaching staff, should be able to defeat. Okay. And tomorrow will be a indication of how have they spent those resources and how have they done in the offseason coaching these guys and getting these guys better. Right. That's why I'm making this game out to be so much bigger than what it is, because Nebraska football has enough talent to beat UCLA.
Yeah, if they lay an egg, you might still be on the air Sunday morning.
And they've invested more resources and have put in more care and more just investment into this program than UCLA has put into theirs. There's a lot of problems going on at UCLA. Okay, UCLA should be a much better, with considering what part they are in the country and the amount of talent that they can just grab in state and around state. They should be much better than what they are.
Baseball,
but there's a reason why they aren't. Okay, there's a reason why you don't have your starting quarterback and you're only a 1.5-point dog. Okay, with what you have on this team, with what you have preached and what you have told us that is going on in the program, standards, culture, player development, they should be able to win this game. And if they win this game tomorrow, it will tell you, hey, the things that are going on in and around this program are actually going on in this program. This actually is a good bounce back team. This actually is a team that can recover from
adversity. It's put up or shut up. Are you the things you say you are? If not,
yes,
then there's other questions that need to be asked, and they will on a show after.
Look, if they and this has a lot to do with the opponent, because I would not be feeling this way if they were going to Columbus, right? I wouldn't be feeling this way if they were going to Ann Arbor. I would not be feeling this way if they were going to a Happy Valley when Penn State was great, right? When Penn State is on the verge of making a college football.
But that's
playoff.
not the case.
That's not the case here.
This is actually if you had a favorable road game, which I hate saying that because but
it's tough.
The things are there that are conducive to you having some success. Yeah.
So it's just it's one.
But it's got to be a team win.
It has to be.
Dudes have to step up.
And
I agree with Gary said earlier. I think you're going to see them both Rule and Dana a little more loose. Might let Dana cook a little now. If he doesn't cook,
yeah, I don't love
then
that.
That's
because I'm like, what about Dylan makes it tight?
That's a different conversation.
And so that you're totally right. That's a whole different show.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an entire show.
Space
that
these
we
things
can
out.
have.
I'm actually excited to watch this game tomorrow because I don't know what to expect. I really don't.
It's one of those things, though.
I feel like I feel like Charlie Brown, though, right now, getting ready to kick the football and lose he's holding. So I'm afraid to get excited.
It's one of those things, though, Jimmy, and Gary and I kind of mentioned it. You're excited heading into the game. You could be really unexcited, though, after about a quarter.
Right.
After a quarter of football, you could say, all right.
And we've been there before.
Yeah, I don't know if the kid really has it today. Like, I maybe this is too much for him. Maybe the expectations were, even though I don't think the expectations are that high at all, maybe we needed to tone down how we thought TJ Lateef could come in and potentially win a football game.
There'll be no more TPs if that happens.
No. So, but at the same time, this game could make you go from, if they lose, you're like, where the hell are we going? And what the hell are we doing?
You're like, come on, Fred, save us.
And Gary's right. There will be a lot of people who are just checked out and are like, all right, I'm kind of done.
But I'm with you. They'd be back in right before Penn State game.
They would say they're out, but they would be right back in 2 days before the Penn State game because there still would be a possibility to win 8 games. But if they were to lose this game, you would have a lot of people who would say, all right, I got my fill. Like Husker football did it to me again. You know what? At least it happened in November this time and not in October and not even in September, which has happened a couple of years.
However,
at least they got me here. But if they won, it would be the opposite. You would say, man, maybe they are kind of figuring things out. It is impressive that you went on the road to California. You beat a team that had played pretty good football overall, sans the Indiana game, leading up to this point, coming off of a bye week. Maybe things are heading the right direction. Maybe the headsets are tuned in. Maybe they are developing players at a better rate. Like the optimism that would come from the optimism that would come from this game would not necessarily be pointed all at the players. The optimism that would come to this game, that would come from this win, would be pointed towards Matt Rule. It'd be pointed towards Dana Holgorsen. It would be pointed towards the coaching staff. And Nebraska football needs that optimism. And you need to have a little bit more trust.
It'd be a nice change.
It would be, because for every impressive thing that has happened this season for Nebraska football, the late comeback against Michigan State, the comeback against Maryland, the perseverance they showed against Northwestern, there has been an equal to heartbreak and sign of, all right, maybe they are the same. You went to Minnesota, you lost the game. Maybe they are. You lost a ranked game to Michigan. Maybe they are the same. You lost a ranked game to USC. Maybe they are the same. So there has been this kind of this equal pulling force, this yin and this yang of what this season in a way has looked like. And while the positives have been there, so have the negatives. And this is one where we talk about the pendulum, right? The trust meter. They were to win this game. It gives you a lot of trust, because it's not just the players battling through adversity and winning a game. It's the coaching staff battling through adversity and winning a game.
Well,
and
they make all this money. This is where they see if they're worth it.
And Jimmy, the theme of this season has been that hasn't happened here in a while.
Mm-mm.
That's what this year has been all about.
Mm-mm.
That hasn't occurred at Nebraska in a while. That's what you're working for. That's what Matt Rule is trying to accomplish. Just doing things and showing people, hey, the last couple of guys haven't been able. Oh, there's a Go Big Red sign on the Today Show.
Well,
there have been a couple of
changed my
guys over the
prediction.
last couple of years who haven't been able to do this. And you know what, fan base? Maybe you've lost a little bit of hope that it can't happen. I'm here to tell you that it can. And tomorrow, going on the road with a backup quarterback, coming off of a loss and winning that game and restoring some faith.
At some point, you got to decide when you're going to change the narrative.
That's what it does. It would change
You have to
the narrative.
decide.
It would change things. It would change how we look at things. So that's why this
See,
game.
I told you, I'm
just telling
excited to watch that. I don't know
telling
what's
you,
going to happen.
This game on the surface is just it's a 6-3 Nebraska team going on the road to play UCLA. They're a 1.5 point dog. They're going to California. Typically, that game on the surface level, for somebody who doesn't know what's going on at the University of Nebraska, this game doesn't matter a whole lot. For the people who are tuned in on this team, or the people who are listening to the show, who understand what is going on at Nebraska football, they recognize that the stakes of this game are incredibly.
Well, the fans are saying, look, you say it's different all the time, then show me. We're tired of hearing talk. Just show me. Let's see it on the field.
How many times have we said, hey, I've said this a lot on drives for Nebraska football this year. Show me you're a different team.
Yeah.
Way too many times they haven't.
And a lot of people, and rightfully so, until they do, hey, got to understand when they're saying, hey, before we go to break here, because Spencer on the stream wanted us to give a shout out. Husker Wrestling opening duel tonight.
No, I know.
At the Bob.
We were going to mention that. I was going to mention that in a quick
against
segment.
Army.
Man, Mark Manning, what a guy. What a guy.
AJ Farrar, you get to watch it all tonight.
It'll be fun. Do you know what that is on? Is that on Big Ten Plus? I can look here. Which, by the way, like,
right now.
Good for the Big East and the fact that
And there are still tickets available. People want to go watch.
Go and watch them. They're going to be a wagon this year. That game.
The team will also participate in a tunnel walk before the duel with special guest Bud Crawford. Hell yes.
Big Ten Plus. Nebraska Wrestling. First school of the season, number 2 in the country, takes on number 23 Army. I was going to say they're like Big Ten
Plus. Yeah.
Big Ten Plus. Man, there were some like people in the Big East who were like complaining that their games were on Peacock.
They don't like the Peacock?
Let me.
They do a good job.
Jimmy,
clear picture,
dude. I would love for these to have these things on Peacock, right? Big Ten Plus to Peacock. It's not even close. It's not even close. The fact that
it can sometimes be like
you get to watch Creighton
public access.
You get to watch Creighton play South Dakota, and you get John Fanta on the call.
Oh, is that who did the game?
Yeah, you get a whole presentation that way. Really, like that's impressive stuff. So yeah, Spencer, I was gonna do that anyway, but I appreciate you being in the comments because you know what? You're damn right.
Shout out Joe.
Nebraska-
Joe always wants to talk about Husker
Nebraska
wrestling.
wrestling is back, and they're a wagon. I'll tell you what's not a wagon. It's Wisconsin football. And I'm going to tell you why yesterday, if you were a Badger fan, it was all smoke and mirrors. If I was waking up in Madison today and I was rooting for that football team, I would not be happy at all. I'll tell you next as to why here on Gary and Matt on 1620 Zone. 1620 Zone is proud to sponsor the UNO hockey games this weekend against North Dakota.
Hell yes.
Saturday, November 8th, again at 7 p.m. The UNO Mavericks take on the North Dakota Fighting Hawks. Listen with Connor Happer all week to win your way into the game. Come cheer on your Omaha Mavericks and stop by our table for some awesome Zone swag. It's going to be an exciting night of hockey, energy, and hometown pride. Do not miss it.
Durango will be there, will you?
Was that somebody told me that the Durango was like his name's Durango because of a car dealership. You know, they did like a car dealership.
You mean he wasn't named after a Dodge Durango?
That's what somebody told me. I don't know.
Oh, we'll just have to ask him. He's a friend of the station.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Durango? Yeah.
No.
Hell yes, I
Oh.
know Durango.
No, I thought you were talking. Bigelow is the guy who told me that. He went to a UNO game. I got to talk to Jacob because remember when I first got here?
I remember Jacob. Yes.
Matt and Jacob go to basketball games. Biggs and McMaster, the basketball tour.
Trying to do content. Yeah.
We might have to bring that back. Well, I mean, the Biggs and McMaster basketball tour was literally just going to Creighton and Omaha games. But maybe
Is that not basketball?
But maybe we venture off to Iowa State this year. Maybe we go. I've never been
like
to
Hilton.
I've never
It was
been
my
to-
favorite non-Allen Fieldhouse place to call a game.
I've never been to Fog Allen.
We'll take you.
Do you like it that I call it Fog Allen? That I fully respect the name of your place?
I'm indifferent either way. It does
Okay.
not affect whether my day is.
Yeah, I always called it Miller Park. You know, I didn't just call
It'll
it
always be Miller Park.
It will always not. What is it? American Family Field.
Yeah, it's just insurance.
You know what? I think there should be a rule that if you like whatever the stadiums were when you were 9 years old, whatever they were called, that's what you are allowed to call
Right.
it.
The
rest
Bills
of
are
your life.
playing their last season at Rich Stadium.
It will always be U.S. Cellular Field, which is weird to some people because
The White Sox?
because
It'll
to
always
them-
be New Comiskey to me.
Exactly. And to some people, it'd always be Old Comiskey, which Heinz Field will never be Acrisure Park.
No.
Now, see, that's a rule I'm willing to. I'll make an amendment.
Heinz Ward should actually buy the naming rights.
I don't know if he's got that much money, but like if you're a parent, right?
Yeah.
And you're with you have a kid, a boy or girl, whatever. You should not allow them to call it Acrisure Stadium or whatever.
We're already working on that with mine.
Yeah, this is like, hey, it's no kid. You're going to Heinz Field. I know it doesn't say that it's you're going to Heinz Field.
And then they just look at you.
And then they look at you and they go, okay. And then you take them to the little museum outside of the park that's got the big old ketchup bottle. And you're like, you see that ketchup bottle that used to be on the top of the stadium? It used to be cool. When Renegade used to come on and we were all waving the terrible towels, we were looking at something that said it had 72 great flavors or whatever. So there you go. That's a little rant. Real quick, if you want to go on a rant on me, you can call in 402-951-1620, the Zone at the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Play longer, win more, Prairie Flower Casino. We'll have Matt Stevens, the radio analyst of the UCLA Bruins, come on at 9:20. He's the end of our lineup, which is powered by the rooferys of John Higgins Weather Guard. And on top of that, if you want to email into the Equitable Bank inbox, they take banking personally. Old
Please
man
do.
Doug,
We like
love ya.
emails.
We will read those coming up on the next segment. But I want to talk about something that happened yesterday in the world of college football.
Uh-oh. Did I miss something?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't.
You scared me.
No, I mean, see, if I were a Wisconsin football fan, I'd be scared.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah, winter's coming. It's cold up there.
No. Well,
It's cold in Madison.
It is
You know this.
but like they got great beer coats up there.
True.
You know, you don't go to a North Face store in Wisconsin to like cool off. You go to the Brat Stop, right? That's it. You walk into the Brat Stop, you get a couple. Hey, can I get a couple New Glarus's, right? They'll look at you and they'll be like, "Oh, you want a spotted cow?" And if you're a real G, if you know what you're doing, you're like, "No, I'll take 2 naked ladies, please."
I've heard of that.
Oh my God, it is so much better than spotted cow. Spotted cow has become overrated.
Hey, before you came here, our old boss
Yeah.
gave all of us cases of spotted cow my
See-
first year
see,
here for Christmas.
If you are
Right here in the studio. I about cried.
If you are not familiar with spotted cow and you've never had spotted cow, you should drink it. It's a great beer. Like you're like, hell yeah, this is awesome.
But there are other beers in that.
But oh well, New Glarus is just a great brewing company in
Yeah.
and of itself. But like when you're 45 minutes away from Kenosha, like I was, where you
Ooh,
can
home
just,
of the Kenosha Kickers.
you
if
can
know,
just
you know.
go up to Kenosha whenever you want and get the cow, right? And then like you're drinking 100 of them in the summer. The like novelty and starting to like it wears off a little bit, and then you fall into Two Naked Ladies, which is always a fun time, and you go ahead and you drink that
recall.
beer. Yeah, I know, we all do. So or you go, you're Moon Man. That's another New Glarus beer. But anyway, you go to a broth stop and you order a Moon Man. You're like, please let me have a couple of beers. I have to drink my sorrows away because Luke Fickell is going to be the head coach of Wisconsin football in 2025 in this once great football program that was known for its ability to get Midwestern hosses, put them up on the line them up.
Who was it that said they got away from what they did? Was that Brett who was saying that?
I think it's a lot of people.
I mean,
who are
it's
saying
everybody,
that.
but I'm saying today.
Today was Brett. Big Cat, Dan Katz. He's a very popular Barstool personality, probably the most popular Barstool personality outside of Dave Portnoy, is a Wisconsin grad. And he's been very, very vocal in his disappointment. And he speaks for a lot of Wisconsin football fans because that was the identity of Wisconsin. They'd go out, they get a New Jersey running back, and they'd line them up right behind an offensive line with a bunch of big boys from the Midwest, whether it be from Minnesota or Wisconsin or Illinois, or maybe they'd even dip into Michigan, and they'd line these suckers up. And it wasn't 3 yards in a cloud of dust. It was 6 yards in a cloud of dust. And it was, we're gonna hand this ball off and we're gonna run it down your throat. And then maybe we'll luck into having a nice quarterback like Russell Wilson who can kind of throw the ball around the yard. But we are going to pin our hopes on a Melvin Gordon. We're going to pin our hopes on a Monty Ball. We're going to pin our hopes on a Jonathan Taylor. We're going to go ahead and say, hey, Braylon Allen, we don't care that you're 17 years old. You're the biggest 17-year-old we have ever seen, and we're just going to hand you the ball. And you're going to run behind, Tyler Biazia, and an incredible center. And you're going to run behind some of these NFL offensive linemen and just be Wisconsin. No one else. I mean, it was just Wisconsin was Wisconsin. That's just who they were. And that was their identity.
You didn't have to change your entire identity. You could have incorporated
and
their
that was
identity.
And that was the thing too, because, and I know it always comes back to Northwestern, but Pat Fitzgerald left. And the best thing that David Braun did was say, you know what? We're just going to do it the way that Fitz did. Like we're going to go ahead. And
they won games doing it.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get good running backs and we're going to develop offensive tackles. And our best recruiting is going to be in the secondary. And we're going to play quarters coverage and we're going to rush with 4. And this is how we're going to play Northwestern football because you know what? That's how Northwestern football at its peak was played. And at its peak, and then you hope that David Braun comes in and he takes it to another level, right?
Well, you incorporate some of your elements into
the
foundation that's already there.
And so,
unless it's a complete loss,
like you look at Wisconsin, and Wisconsin's had guys like Joe Thomas, and they've had Kevin Zietler, and even if you're dating back all the way to the 70s, they had like Mike Webster, right? And like they showed you the model. They showed you what you're supposed to do. And what Luke Fickell, in my opinion, should have done is come into Wisconsin and say, all right, we're just going to kick this up a notch. Like I'm a better player development coach than Paul Christ.
Let me implement some things into what we're doing here.
What did he do at Cincinnati? He went ahead and he got guys that, were very much overlooked, and he developed them into, way above what we would ever believe that they would become, right? They had the corner Kobe Bryant, who was awesome. They had the Sauce Gardner, who was incredible. Like they had these guys who were overlooked, and they went ahead and they developed. And he should have looked at the model at Wisconsin and said, all right, this is what they do. I'm just going to come in because I'm a better coach. I'm going to do it better. But no, he tried to change the identity of Wisconsin football, an identity that does not fit the identity of the Big Ten. And it did not work for him. And I think there are people across this state and who are Husker fans who are listening to this program who think, oh, yeah, I remember when somebody tried to come in here and change the identity and that identity didn't match the Big Ten.
Instead of incorporating the things that you wanted to put into what worked.
And so they go ahead
you were talking about Callahan
look,
for a second.
Go ahead and they made the statement yesterday of Luke Fickell's going to be the coach in 2025. And then on top of that, the thing that was supposed to get everybody excited was, hey, we're going to invest more money into the football program. There's an investment coming. Here's my thing, though, Jimmy. This is why I think this is a smokescreen. This isn't something that you should really get all that excited about if you're Wisconsin. And I'm talking about the financial investment part. Here's why I think this isn't as big of a deal as people are saying. Because if you were going from average payroll, okay, to then above, and then this investment made you above average, okay, it gave you the opportunity to compete with bigger, with the bigger teams in the Big Ten, the successful teams in the Big Ten. If you were going from average to above average after this investment, you would be much better off firing Luke Fickell and then saying to the next head coach of of the Wisconsin Badgers, hey, look, we have this big pool of money. You're going to be able to compete with Indiana. You're going to be able to compete with Michigan. You're going to be able to compete with Nebraska. Your payroll is going to put you in a position to compete with the better teams in the Big Ten, right? Or the teams in the Big Ten that are investing as much in terms of financial investment. You would have been so much better off doing that if you went from average to above average, as opposed to keeping Luke Fickell around, because Luke Fickell hasn't done enough to constitute giving him an above average payroll that you can trust him in. And look, the Wisconsin Badgers are averaging their lowest through the first 4 games this season, the first 4 home games this season. They averaged the lowest attendance, quote unquote, since 1992. That 1992 team was a 5-6 Barry Alvarez.
Yeah,
team.
Barry was building that thing to set up their 93 run.
They're scanning their first 4 home games, 51,000 tickets on average. People are not excited about Wisconsin
Camp Randall
football.
seats what, 75?
Yeah,
so
they are not excited about Wisconsin football. The energy is not there for Wisconsin football. The fan base is sick and tired of Luke Fickell, and they're sick and tired of seeing their program go down into a well they never thought it could go down into. And if you want to reinvigorate the fan base, you don't reinvigorate the fan base by saying, hey, we're giving more money to the guy who's failed. You reinvigorate the fan base by saying, hey, we're going to give you a ton of money. We're going to invest a lot of money into this program, and we're not going to be afraid about who we potentially can hire, okay? Because we've now made this investment, and we know that we can pluck a coach and say, hey, look at all the pool of money that you can have here and you can win at Wisconsin. But that's not the case, because you say initial investment, but then you wrap around that you say, hey, we've made a big investment into the football program, but then you couple that with Luke Fickell. You know what that does to me? Do you know what that communicates to me? You aren't going from an average payroll to an above average payroll.
We're kicking the can down the road, and we'll revisit this in a year.
Exactly. You're not telling me you're going from an average payroll to an above average payroll. You're telling me you're going from a below average payroll to an average payroll.
And if they start next year poorly, then that money, like Gary said before, will magically be there.
Yes. And so you go from below average payroll to an average payroll that obviously would not garner any sort of attention or pluck any sort of coach that wouldn't rather go to Penn State or Florida or Auburn or even Virginia Tech. Okay? Like, you are just, like you said, kicking the can down the road. They're going to fire Luke Fickell eventually, but they just have to say to you, hey, we're putting more money into the program. Don't completely give up here. Don't completely think that we're out and that we're not doing what we
Nothing to see here.
Exactly. That's the whole, they've made a big investment. That doesn't tell me anything other than, you know what? You don't want to get into this head coaching search because you would be 7th on the list.
Yeah.
And you know that it's just not worth hiring a new coach that wouldn't inspire a fan base that already isn't showing up to the game.
Instead, now hey, you think Murph could have the Brewers back in the NLCS next year? Maybe win a game?
Exactly.
But Giannis, how about the Bucks?
So it's just one of those things where they're just, kick the can down the road. You're going to have a lame duck season, but you know what? We don't want you to think we're going to have a lame duck season. So we're going to go ahead and tell you, we're investing more in the football program. Even if it was a big enough investment, we would fire this guy's ass and go ahead and get a coach that actually would put your butts back in Camp Randall. But they don't. That's not where they are at. Okay. And there are other outside factors that are making it hard for Wisconsin football and Wisconsin athletics to get money. Recognize that. They got to figure that out. But it is a sad state of affairs that are going on right now in Madison. And it's one of those things, too, where I'm not grew up in Illinois. I'm not like a Badger honk or anything like that. But we are in an era where it's important for Big Ten teams to be good. It's important for the Big Ten to be competitive. It's important for as many teams as possible to be in the college football playoff picture. And the Wisconsin of old and the Wisconsin that built through the offensive line and built through their defense and built through their great running backs, that's the type of team that should be competing for playoff spots, right? I mean, the college football playoff, you could argue, was kind of built for the 2010s Wisconsin teams, right?
Yeah.
The teams that
Bert's teams.
Yeah. The teams that were good, the teams that were competitive, but the teams that weren't necessarily national champions. This 12-team playoff was made for Brett Bielema's Wisconsin teams, Paul Chris Wisconsin teams.
Now they need you to expand it to 96.
Paul Chris Wisconsin teams before it, fell off the cliff. Beginning of Paul Chris Wisconsin. But yeah, it's just the whole we're keeping fickle, but we're making a big investment. That's nothing but that's a mirage. That's just for people to think that Wisconsin football is worth going to football games. Alrighty. Coming up next, we got a NFL slate, but we're going to talk about it.
Man, you're just crapping on football this weekend.
I'm not crapping
Although
on
I'm
football
not disagreeing on the Sunday slate.
It's a meh. You got two really good games. We're going to talk about that. We'll also talk about a couple more college football games that we can touch on. And then we will have Matt Stevens on at 9:20. At 9:40, we'll go ahead and give you our picks. And we'll read you a couple of emails and a couple of tweets and people's opinions. And we'll even hop into the YouTube chat. What's up, Baymon? What's up, Jimmy? What's up, Doug in Idaho? What's up, Jimmy P's in the chat? Captain was here earlier. We got the boys. We got everybody. And the gals. The gals and the boys talking football on a Friday Football Fiesta on 1620 The Zone. That's a good one, Jimmy. That was very nicely done. Very nicely done, Jimmy Chavez. Jumping around here on a Friday football fiesta.
Don't hit the stretch.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's not the 7th inning.
No,
But-
before you jump, you want to pull something.
Do you pull something jumping? Is that
I
where
mean,
you're
now
at? Are
maybe.
you at that age?
Yes.
I don't think
You should hear the cracking when I get up with The Apprentice.
I have strained muscles, right? I've had tendinitis. I don't know if I've ever actually really like pulled a muscle.
Well, you're young.
But even
You're-
kids
you're-
my age would like pull their hamstring or like, pull their calf or something like that, or pull a back. And I don't know if I pulled anything. I just have pain, really. This is what it is. All right, I do. I just have chronic back pain at 23 years old. It sucks. It's the worst. We go ahead to the Equitable Bank inbox where they take banking personally. John emails in, one of the hell has rule done to justify an above average payroll? There is a very real possibility that after year 3, rule is going to be 18-20 at Nebraska. I think that's a fair argument, John. They look, Matt Rule has made it really clear that in year 1 and year 2, he doesn't, it's not like it's the highest quality football, and he lived up to that promise. But typically the promise is that in year 3, it looks a lot better. And it's looked better, but it definitely hasn't looked
a lot.
It hasn't looked a lot better. And these last 3 games, you're right, are going to be very important in justifying, the leverage that he had and his extension and all that type of stuff. At the same time, though, if you want to say what has he done to earn an above average payroll, I think he has set a good culture and a good precedent and has put Nebraska, at least in the view of the general public, that they're going in the right direction. And maybe you could say that's a low bar to clear, but the guys in the past who have been the head coaches of Nebraska haven't cleared that bar. And so I think what he has done is convinced enough people that they should trust him, and that the things that are going on within the walls of Nebraska are, justify a advanced investment in the football program to bring in better players. Now, the thing is that Matt Rule has never had a problem with Monday through Friday and convincing people that the things that are going on within the walls that you can't see are going well. He's never had that issue. The issue has been on Saturdays, and he's got a great opportunity tomorrow to prove that, he can put down he can handle adversity. And he can go win a football game that, once again, the theme of the season is doing things that you haven't really done before. And you haven't done in a while. And going on the road, winning a game with a backup quarterback, and, doing it in not just in style, but giving yourself an opportunity to win 8
Once
football
again,
games.
a team win.
Yes. Giving yourself an opportunity to win more than 6 football games. Or 7 football games in quite some time. That has justified something. But at the same time, if they go 3-3 to end the year, I don't think John's off on his email asking what has Rule done to earn the advanced investment, in the football program. Matt emails in, if you have a bad CEO at a company, more money could be worse. Great point, Matt. Luke Fickell has just been given more of a runway to make bad decisions in some people's minds. And also, too, my point being this, the whole significant investment thing, if it was that significant, they would fire Luke Fickell and hire a coach that would actually inspire a fan base that is sick and tired of seeing what is happening to their beloved program at Camp Randall. We go over to the 531 in the text line. I like Iowa over Oregon. That Iowa defense is legit. That Iowa defense is absolutely awesome. And, the sloppy track will play into their game. It'll play into the style of the game. It'll play the way that Iowa likes to play football. At the same time, though, I think Oregon is wildly underrated. And I think that the things that they've done well this season, they haven't been given enough credit. And things that they haven't done well, we've harped on it too much. Look, yes, Dante Moore did not have a good fourth quarter against Indiana. But you look at how Indiana has played against everybody else this season. Oregon battled them and fought them to the end, and they proved that they can compete with the best teams in the country on any given day. So I think they deserve a little bit of credence when it comes to that. Alrighty, We'll talk about football on this Friday Football Fiesta coming up next. Tampa Bay, New England should be a good one. Rams versus 49ers should be a really, really good one. Utah versus BYU versus Texas Tech should be a good one. And then we kind of that's something falling off a cliff. That's my sound effect. Doesn't really get you great after that.
Work on your sound effects.
Yeah, I don't think I'm watching. I don't think I'm going to watch the New York Jets play the Cleveland Browns. So you'll see Gary and Matt here on 1620 The Zone. Nebraska football plays UCLA tomorrow, 8 p.m. kickoff. Bruins versus Huskers. Huskers will have TJ Lateef in at quarterback. You can get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction. Immediately after the game, join the show and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly to hear from the most important voice, yours. This week's Nebraska versus UCLA 8 p.m. kickoff. John Bishop and myself, Matt McMaster, will be taking calls live in the studio. BROR. Only on 1620 The Zone and 101.9 The Keg. And we want to thank our Big Red Overreaction sponsors, Equitable Bank, No Name Nutrition, Jay Stennett Contracting, Dingman's Collision Center, Prairie Flower Casino, and Peerless Energy Systems. Should be a good one. Bishop and I, Bishop over the phone, or not over the phone, over StreamYard.
Live via telegraph.
He's not live via telegraph. Okay. He's live via John. I will be here at the Host Coffee
Who
Zone
will be with you?
Studios. I think it'll be Colbert. I think. I don't know. I have to text that person. The new tradition is that people buy dinner. So
Dinner's good. You need to eat. Low blood
damn
sugar
it,
could
I
lead to death.
forgot. I was supposed to bring something today. I'll have to go back. I'll bring it back to the studio later. We go to the Jake Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed, where Mike tweets into at Matt McMedia and at Gary Sharp 1620. Is football like pizza?
I'm here for this.
When it's good, it's awesome. When it's bad, it's still pizza.
That might be some of the deepest stuff. No pun
Have you
intended.
had a bad pizza before?
No.
Really? I've had a bad.
I mean, it was still pizza though. The Totino's party pizza still hit at 3:45 in the morning.
See, here's the question about it.
I'm not buying it today as an
this
adult.
is a great combo because I don't think Mike. Maybe I'm taking this wrong because I've had bad pizza before, but I've never had a pizza where I stopped halfway through. And I think that's what Mike is communicating. Like even if the pizza's bad,
we don't have to watch the whole game. I get what Mike is saying.
But that's my thing though, is what I'm saying is I've never like taken 4 bites of a pizza and said, you know what? I'm done. I'm good.
Right.
I've always powered through.
Always finish it.
And I finished the pizza.
Yeah.
Because
always have a happy plate.
Like, let's be honest, yesterday, it was awful. It was I didn't watch, by the way, I didn't watch so like Gary was trying to talk about Al Michaels, and that's become a very popular thing to do is, make jokes about Al Michaels.
It's required.
How he's getting older. And it just seems like he's uninterested in some of these games. I didn't listen to one
Which I can
word.
relate to.
I never turned on the volume to Thursday Night Football yesterday.
I
did not. I didn't listen to one word of it. I was just watching. All I was watching was the UNO Mavericks, unfortunately, lose a game to Abilene Christian yesterday. That was a great game, by the way. I mean, that was very competitive. It seemed like the Mavs were on the back foot a lot during that contest, and yet they still kept battled through adversity.
But I know what you mean. We put that game on for 5 minutes, and I had to decide: would I like to plug in my toaster and take a shower with it, or go to bed? And I chose to go to bed.
I would look to the left, and Geno Smith was under pressure. It just seemed like the theme of the game. It was just every time Geno would step back to throw, he was either throwing a pick or a bad ball, or somebody was dropping the ball, or he was getting sacked in the backfield because.
But those Broncos unis, the hell were you thinking? Go back to that.
Dude, just do that. Now, I did like the 2015 Broncos jerseys.
Well, yeah, they were
like
just
those were
derivative of the 97 jerseys,
it was
just an orange.
blue, but you had the nice little like side patch it was orange, and then it had the nice little side patch with the blue, right? And then even those blue jerseys with the white numbers with the blue outline. Ugh, so blue pants. Good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, that was Denver Bronco football, man. That's a team that Gary hates that I have no quarrel with. I've never.
I always liked him. Shout out John Elway.
I've never had a problem with the Denver.
Shout out the three amigos.
It's very easy to talk about the NFL teams that you hate, right? Like it's very easy to be like, oh yeah, I hate the Patriots. Oh, I hate the Chiefs. Oh, I can't.
Most of America does.
I can't. The Cowboys suck. It's very easy to say that. But what about the teams?
But they do.
But what about the teams that you like? What about the teams that aren't yours that you're like, I kind of like Seattle.
They're your cheat team.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind if Arizona won a game.
They're your hall pass.
No, I don't want to call it hall.
You can call it. It's okay.
Are they? Well, I think the Eagles would be my hall pass.
Wow, not many people say that.
Well, the Eagles are hot. You can't have a hall pass if it's,
You mean you can't have a hall pass if it looks like...
Okay, I got a question for you. If I told you that my hall pass was the Tennessee Titans...
I thought you were going to say B. Arthur.
No. Jeez, stop. If I said my hall pass was the Tennessee Titans, you would be like, why do you want to watch that? Why do you want
I'd
to
ask you, what's the girl's name and how did she get you watching?
Yes. God. Well, you know what? That would be one of my things where I would fall in love with a girl if she was a diehard fan of a bad college football team. Because you know what? If you can love the Tennessee Titans now, you can love me now. I'm not saying I'm the Tennessee Titans of dating. Right?
It's like
now.
when if you can love the LA Clippers, you can love me.
I think I'm like that'd be a funny segment. If I were to compare my dating life to an NFL team, what would it be?
Okay. You went there. What is it then?
Probably Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
some things.
Oh, you blew a 28-3 lead also?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've blown a couple of 28-3 leads, if we're being honest, Jimmy Chavez. I've actually blown 3 28-3 leads, if we're keeping track at home. But
Regular
there are
Houston
things that you
Oilers.
like. You know, I'm funny. I got Drake London. You know, I can make some good dinner. I got Bijan Robinson. You know, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I basically live in a dorm that looks like Buffalo Wild Wings. You know, I have an unhealthy obsession with the Chicago Bears and teams that, you know, make me miserable.
But it's your team.
You know, and the Atlanta Falcons have a defense that is actually really good, but a quarterback that just can't put it all together.
With terrible unis, they should go back to their old.
But they're not bad. They're not bad.
But they're not good.
But they're not good. They're not good. There's a lot of work that needs to be done before you marry the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah,
if you know what I'm saying.
Atlanta and Carolina could also, or I guess this year New Orleans.
Well, Carolina,
that's a
I don't
rivalry.
think I'm as frisky as Carolina.
Yeah.
Carolina is incredibly frisky.
But they could be that Thursday night game, if not Titans Jaguars, which is America's Thursday night game.
All right,
forever.
let's stop.
You're getting sad.
No, I'm not getting sad.
You're
I'm actually very happy. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna prep for a high school football game that I very much look forward to announcing tonight. Which, by the way, Class A.
Which, if you're just tuning in, our boys calling play-by-play.
I am. I will be on the one. I will be the play-by-play guy. I will be the color guy. It'll be first time in a little bit. Let's actually go over the Class A high school football today. We got West Side versus Kearney. That should West Side, you know, definitely the favorite in that matchup. Kearney's had a good year. Had they beat Millard North in a really close game a couple of weeks ago at Kearney, that is looking better as Millard North continues to improve as the season goes on. I want to shout out Alan Burrell. I mean, he's done a great job turning around that program after an 0-4 start. They've now won 5 out of their last 6 games. They take on Papio South tonight at 7 o'clock. That game already happened earlier in the year where Papio South defeated Millard North 51-7. And that was kind of the turning point for Millard North and the realization, hey, we got to change some things around before we really get going here because, you know, they lost a lot of players. Millard North did from last season to this season. I think they lost up to 20 starters, but they've been able to grow as a team and won a playoff game, being an Omaha North team that, you know, was good this year, had beaten Central earlier in the year and competed. But, you know, unfortunately for Larry Martin and that squad, they were really banged up heading into that one. But it still doesn't take away the fact that Isaiah Traylor is playing some really, really good football. We got another good matchup on that side of the bracket. Lincoln East, after taking down Omaha Central on the road last week, they beat them 24-10. They take on a really, really good Creighton Prep team that is the 2 seed for a reason. That's going to be an incredibly intriguing matchup between East and Prep. You know, I think these Lincoln teams at times get overlooked, and East put on a really, really good performance against Central. And Creighton Prep, we saw them play earlier this season. Coach Yonk's got those guys moving, got a really good defensive front that gives a ton of teams problems. Lincoln Southeast only scored 3 points last week against Creighton Prep. And then tonight, the Elkhorn South Storm take on Millard South. Elkhorn South. Shout out to head coach Guy Rosenberg.
Is that the game you're doing?
No.
Which one are you doing?
I'm doing Millard North Papio.
Okay.
I'm doing the other Millard team. Okay. Elkhorn South, though, had a really good year. Jaden Sutko, you know, obviously, guy's a beast. And Guy Rosenberg has done an incredible job, you know, year in and year out for the Elkhorn South Storm. But they take on Millard South, who won last week against Westview, albeit 45-3. Wasn't the bludgeoning that we are accustomed to.
Wasn't a squeaker either.
No. But they win 45-3. So that will be another matchup here. We'll go to the B bracket. So we see here Waverly will take on Seward, and then Bennington will take on Elkhorn North, which could put together a really intriguing matchup in the semifinal to see who goes to Memorial Stadium. And then we got a fun matchup. 2 teams that York, you know, was a 14 seed last week. They ended up beating Scotts Bluff, and they take on an 11 seed in Gretna, who defeated Norris in an absolute thriller of a game, 46-45. And then Scott takes on Gretna East. The winner of that game will play the winner of York Gretna in the semifinal. So there you go, a little high school football flavor, a little bit of NFL flavor. I kind of mentioned it before. You know, not a great slate, but 2 really, really good games on the docket. You got New England versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a team that we were all kind of fawning over and talking about because Baker Mayfield and his incredible start to the season. And we had a lot of legitimate conversations about, Baker Mayfield MVP talk. Look at Baker, he's taking the next step, and so on and so forth. And then after that,
is my team off this week?
Your team is off this
week. They probably need a bye week.
That Detroit game was not a good matchup for Tampa Bay. Detroit, as we all know, is awesome in play action. That's what they built their offense off of last season with Ben Johnson, and they still have it with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and a quarterback who I still think, like, the fact that Sean McVay moved off of Jared Goff still bothers a lot of people. Like, it
worked out for everybody,
but it still gives you a real skewed view of Jared Goff, in my opinion. Like, for whatever reason, this guy has done everything from a performance and statistical perspective for you to give him, the respect he deserves as one of the 7 or 8 best quarterbacks in the NFL. And yet I think just we're always hesitant because he was a number 1 overall pick that didn't pan out on his original team. But I mean,
but sometimes somewhere else is the best place for you, where you were meant to be.
And also too, it's just like, I think that more than anything, Jared Goff needed somebody who believed.
Yeah, we all do.
And
if he wins a Super Bowl in Detroit, see, everybody won.
Well, I loved watching, like, Netflix is killing it in the sport game, and they did an incredible job with quarterback this year. And that was one of the cool ones where Jared Goff talks about being traded and the fact that it was so incredible for him to hear the GM and to hear Dan Campbell say, "Hey, we want you here. You're our guy." And hey, like, this is awesome. And Jared Goff so out of 32 quarterbacks, Jared Goff ranks 21st in attempts this season, but his yards per game this season, or so his total yards this season, are 13. And his yards per game are 8th in the NFL, and his yards per attempt are 7th in the NFL. And it's just, he has been incredibly effective, incredibly efficient. He's 2nd this season in completion percentage. I mean, he's had an incredible year. And he tore up that Tampa Bay defense, and they scored, they won that game 24-9. And I think a lot of people kind of took a step back on Tampa Bay after that Detroit loss. And I think you got to get back on the wagon. Like, Tampa Bay is still a very good team. I expected them to lose that game because of against Detroit, because of, it was a tough matchup for them in the PA game. I think that I would not be surprised if Detroit and Tampa Bay play each other in the playoff again. And I wouldn't be shocked if Tampa Bay ends up winning that game. They take on the New England Patriots, who have really been the surprise story of the NFL season so far.
Patriots are back.
As somebody who kept Drake May in his keeper league and everybody laughed at him, go screw yourselves. All right.
There you go. Yeah, flex.
I am a good GM. I knew this was coming. You saw the flashes last season.
Sound like Jerry Jones.
Look, you saw the flashes last season with Drake May, and he was put in a really bad position with no offensive weapons and a very much a lack of a run game and just a not good offensive line. And he was able to make chicken salad out of chicken S. And now they finally got him a head coach. And more importantly, they got him a coordinator in Josh McDaniels, who understands how to win games in New England. And he's looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league so far. I love Tampa Bay in this matchup, though, Jimmy. So here's one thing that is kind of going under the radar. On 10% of their dropbacks, New England gets sacked. Okay, that's second worst in the NFL. Their offensive sack percentage is 10.4%. Defensively, you look at this Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense. First of all, they're 5th in EPA per play in the NFL. And we talk a lot about the offense, but the defense has been incredible. But they are 10th in the league in sack percentage, 7.55% of the time they're sacking the quarterback. So I think this is a game where that Todd Bowles is going to send a ton of heat. He's going to heat up the quarterback, going to heat up a young quarterback. You got an offensive line that hasn't really been all that good in pass protection. I really like Tampa Bay in that matchup. And then go ahead, Rams, San Francisco. What about Mac Jones? Don't you love it? Like, this is what the last 5 years have been in the NFL. A bunch of these high drafted quarterbacks who sucked, who were terrible. They were awful. And then you find out the power of coaching when they go to really good offensive coordinators and they end up resurrecting their careers and being great. That'll be a great match between the Rams and the 49ers. And then I'll tell you this. If you got Jonathan Taylor on your fantasy football team this week, run him, baby. Run him.
What
Jonathan
terrible team are
Taylor,
they playing?
They're playing the Atlanta Falcons, who
Are they a
have
terrible
the
team?
third
Oh,
worst
them again.
rushing offense, or rushing defense, rather, according to EPA in the league. Jonathan Taylor has been playing like the best running back in the league. Now, they did have a stinker against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers proved that when they have good defense, that they actually can be a threat in the AFC. But expect a big bounce back for the Indianapolis Colts. And if you're somebody who likes to gamble, I'd probably bet money on the Giants because this is going to be a game that the Chicago Bears are probably going to have to lose.
Wait, did you just say the Bears are going to lose?
You just have a sense. Like, Husker fans can relate to this. I think Husker fans have a really good sense of the team.
But they know ball.
Like, it's not just like a stat thing or a number thing or anything like that. It's just like a feeling, right? You don't care what the matchup is and you don't care what the statistics are trying to tell you. You've been in this situation before and you know what the previous outcomes have been. This is how I feel about the Bears and the Giants this week. I've been in this situation before where I have hope and you're playing a 2-7 football team with a rookie quarterback and you're expecting, hey, we're going to take advantage of the factors that are playing into the game, and then they don't. And also, too, I know a lot of people were celebrating the Bears' offense after their 47-42 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. Their defense blows. Defense sucks. Defense is terrible. It's hurt. You're not healthy in the secondary, and then on top of that, for the last 3 years, they have failed to find another pass rusher next to Montez Sweat. And that is going to continue to be a problem. And it's almost like they had a trade deadline that they could have addressed that problem. And they decided not to. So that's just the story of my life. I just root for a bunch of teams that never go and utilize the tools that are ahead of them to actually go all in and win more games. It's always disappointing. I'll tell you right now who's going all in to win more games, though. It's Matt Rule and the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Nice segue, man.
Because, look, circumstances are tough. They're not dire, but they're tough. And you can't afford to go 6-6 this season. And we're going to find out pretty quickly tomorrow how likely that is to happen. And we're going to talk to somebody who will be at the game. We'll be talking about the game. It's Matt Stevens, radio analyst for the UCLA Bruins. He'll come on here and preview what you can expect to see from UCLA tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. Listen to 1627. Big game tomorrow. Nebraska football takes on the UCLA Bruins. We bring in the UCLA Bruins color analyst for the radio broadcast, Mr. Matt Stevens. Matt, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Can't wait for tomorrow.
Can't wait for tomorrow, too. I mean, it should be a very exciting game with a lot of intriguing storylines. I have to ask you, Matt, how the hell has this season been for you? I mean, you begin the year, right? I mean, not a great start with the losses to Utah and UNLV and then New Mexico. And then, Deshaun Foster ends up losing his job. And then just euphoria, right? I mean, you beat Penn State at home. I'm sure that was an incredible moment for you. And then it just wasn't a one-time deal, right? It was you go on the road, you beat Michigan State, then you go and you win a gritty game against Maryland. And the result to Indiana was a result that a lot of teams are going to have to Indiana this year. I mean, how has this roller coaster for you specifically been?
Well, euphoric, at one point.
Yeah.
And because it was just the Bruins were so far lost when they opened up the season, and they just didn't look like, and they had some guys, and they just didn't look like they were going to do anything the whole year. And people were talking 0-12, and for them to come back against Penn State, that game at home, it sort of rejuvenated the program. And you can't say enough about interim coach Tim Skipper. I mean, he turned everybody around, the coaches, the players, and then all of a sudden you get the beat down in Indiana, and it's sort of like back to reality. But I think, UCLA, they had a bye week, so they watched Indiana go to Maryland, and Maryland got a beat down at home, and it sort of put things in perspective for the Bruins. I mean, Indiana's, and I think Ohio State are the two teams to beat.
We talk a lot about your offensive coordinator, right? Coach Neuheisel, and he deserves all the credit in the world. I mean, he's done an awesome job. But you bring up the interim head coach, Tim Skipper, and I don't think we're talking enough about the job that he's done. From your perspective, you in and around the program. I mean, what has he done to kind of get this team back on track and not, fall down that hole of, like you mentioned, people thought this team could go 0-12.
Well, first of all, I mean, he changed everything on defense. Brought in a new defensive coordinator, Kevin Coyle, that they had a relationship at Fresno State, and he's a defensive mind, Tim Skipper. So he knows what he's doing. But, I mean, they put in different packages, in a couple of days. I mean, it wasn't, like they had a week, a month, or whatever. And they were all of a sudden becoming effective defensively, which was such a huge problem for them. And then the change with Jerry Neuheisel. And he's also played everyone on the bench. It doesn't matter what NIL money they're making or, freshman, senior, whatever. You're good. You're playing. And what he did, he hit the red button. And I think that's what UCLA needed.
Now, I always like having guests on here, that are on the other side of this, right? Because, Nebraska football, you kind of at times, and I'm sure you understand this, when you're covering your team, right? You kind of get the same perspectives, and everybody's looking at the same thing, and they're the same answers. But I love asking people who are on the outside, right, who are maybe not within the program, of what are you seeing, right? So from a guy, a UCLA radio analyst, when you look at the Nebraska Cornhuskers, what are some of the strengths you see that they have, and maybe some of the weaknesses that the Bruins could expose?
Well, I mean, I think right now, without Raiola, I mean, you're going to look at a Nebraska team that's really going to depend on Johnson. And it's a offense that they got some dudes. I mean, some serious dudes on the O-line, and Johnson's going to be a Sunday running back. I mean, I just think he can do it all. He can catch, run. He's quick to the hole. So I think Nebraska is really going to have to lean on the run and go to the RPO with Latif. And, that's going to really play into UCLA's hands because UCLA, they have some of the best corners in the country. And I know I'm talking about a team that's 3-5.
Sure.
Literally, they have guys that are locked down on the outside. So I think it's going to be tough for Nebraska offensively if they don't throw the ball and try and get some balance. UCLA might have an edge there. And on the defensive side, obviously it's a good secondary, but UCLA, when they have won, they have run the ball. So Nebraska's going to have to stop the run.
And that's something that they've struggled to do, Matt, this season and from the get-go. And it just seems like they haven't been able to patch that together. I want to talk about your quarterback, man. I'm Nico Iamaleava. That always messes me up. I'm sure you're an expert at it at this point. Look, I've been impressed with him because, Matt, this is a guy that obviously he was in the headlines going from Tennessee to UCLA. And, when UCLA got off to the start they got off to, he and his family, frankly, became the butt of a lot of jokes in college football. But, ever since, this new head coach has come in and Tim Skipper has come in, the new offensive coordinator, he's played really high quality football. What have you seen from your quarterback and the growth that he's shown over the last couple of weeks?
Well, first of all, he's a big dude. He's 6'6", 225. He must wear like a size 17 shoe.
Wow.
I mean, he's gigantic, and he's a willing runner. I mean, I actually call him Lamar Jackson XL. I mean, the way he runs the ball, and he's got great speed. And he's had a real tough go. I mean, he's had a new offensive coordinator to start the season, and then now a new offensive coordinator in the middle of the season. And, there's some problems on the offensive line. There wasn't a good running game to help balance them out. I really like this guy, and he's the most competitive guy on the team. He wants to win more than anybody. He never wants to come out of the game. And he got in front of everything, the criticism at the beginning of the year, the losing streak. He has been the face, and he doesn't care, and he puts all the weight on his shoulders. He's a great guy. I mean, and the family's great, too. I mean, it was such a bad rap when he left Tennessee. He's from Southern California. He wants to be around his family. He wants to be around his friends. He wants to play in front of the home crowd. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. I hear you. And like I said, he's a guy that took a ton of criticism, but it's been impressive to see, the strides that he's taken. And look, I mean, they've done it off his legs. And I'm sure the stat. I mean, he's the leading rusher on the team, but he also has lost 108 rushing yards because of sacks. So he should have more rushing yards than what he's given credit for. I'm sure scouting the Nebraska Cornhuskers special teams has been a big deal here in Nebraska. I mean, this Mike Eckler, new special teams coordinator, has, his wins above replacement has basically been 2 for this Nebraska football team. When you talk about the impact that he's made, UCLA, not. I mean, they're 17th in opponent gross yards punts per game. Where how do you see this special teams unit for UCLA, and do you think it might be an advantage for Nebraska, or do you think that UCLA can hold their own against this Nebraska special teams unit?
Well, it's been interesting with Tim Skipper. UCLA, they've run an onside kick, a fake field goal, fake punt, and there's always been some kind of fake something going on. And it just means that UCLA is taking special teams more seriously, although it was a huge setback against Indiana. They were trying different kick returners, and they should have fair caught the ball, and they got bad field position off a kickoff. So it's definitely an advantage to Nebraska. The one thing I will say, Mateen Pagani, the kicker for UCLA, he's an NFL guy too. I mean, he's going to be playing on Sunday.
Good to know. We love that scouting report. I got to ask you too. So doing my research on the Bruins, something stood out. The penalties. I mean, how frustrating at times has it been in the booth with this team kind of shooting themselves in the foot?
Well, the first people in the whirlpool, the yellow flags, because they're so tired of being hitting the ground. I mean, it's a problem. It's a problem for UCLA, and they got to clean it up. One of the reasons it's a problem, I mean, you're playing a team like Indiana that never makes mistakes, and they got guys coming off the edge, and you get your linemen holding or they're twisting up front, and it's just some dumb mistakes. There used to be real bad penalties, like the 15-yarders, and UCLA did take a step back against Indiana, but they've cleaned it up, and that's all been Tim Skipper, and Skipper holds them accountable. I mean, 2 penalties, and you're pretty much out of the game.
Alrighty, Matt. We're Matt Stevens, a radio analyst for UCLA football. You've been doing it. I saw on you have a Twitter. It says you've been doing it for 19 years. Is that true, or has it been a couple more than that?
29.
Wow. That's awesome. Incredible.
I can't believe I get paid to do it. To tell you the truth, and I don't like to say that, but it's so fun. I mean, I got like a posse of friends that follow me around. It seems like we just talk football, and it's a great time.
It seems like a great time, and you can tell, Matt. This is the first time me talking to you, but your passion for UCLA football definitely is vibrant. Before I let you go here, give me one key for UCLA. If they're going to defeat the Cornhuskers, they got to make sure they do what?
Run the ball. Yeah, if they run the ball, that takes all the pressure off Iamaliava, and then he can become a passer. And if they run the ball, You're not looking at Iamaleava taking off on a pass play and running the ball. So if they can run the ball, they're going to win the game.
And let me ask you the opposite. What is something that Nebraska needs to do to expose maybe a vulnerability at UCLA?
I think Lakeith needs to throw the ball at least 15, 20 times a game, and you got to give him opportunity. You just can't hold him back. He's got to make plays throwing the ball, or UCLA is going to have 8, 9 guys in the box.
Okay. All right. Well, Matt, that was great analysis there. Really appreciate having you on. And hope you have a good call, and you have a good one, my friend.
Hey, have a great rest of your day, guys.
Thank you. You too. Matt Stevens, radio analyst for the UCLA Bruins, who will be on the call tomorrow as Nebraska football goes ahead and plays UCLA on the road with their backup quarterback, TJ Lateef. I'm sure that based off of Matt and how we sounded, I haven't heard Matt announce before, but I'm sure that there'll probably be plenty of UCLA fans who are probably going to sync up the radio broadcast to the TV, like a lot of people will probably end up syncing the radio broadcast up to the TV here
He's got
in
me
Nebraska.
caring about UCLA football.
I love
I
love it when you talk to people and you can tell they're passionate about something over the phone.
Well, they make you care.
Exactly.
Or at least they make you do the research, be like, wow, I feel like I'm doing a bad job here. I should read more.
Size 17 shoe. My God.
It's big foot.
It's a very big foot. What's Kevin Durant? I always think, when I think of shoe size now, I think of Kevin Durant having
I
his
think of
toe on the
Shaquille O'Neal. That was 22.
No, Shaquille O'Neal doesn't get enough credit for making that Shaq shoe line that became incredibly affordable for people to go and buy basketball shoes. I feel like I just have to say that when we mention Shaq, because he's kind of weird, but he does a lot of philanthropy and philanthropic. That's a tough word.
That's a tough word, yeah.
With
He
my
does a
listeners.
lot of stuff.
A lot of things. A lot
Good
of weird
things.
things and a lot of good things. Weird good guy of the week, Shaquille O'Neal.
A new benchmark?
A new
What
benchmark?
have you done?
Oh my God, we need new benchmarks. We have another benchmark coming up. It's going to be our picks. Scary Tech's going to be them. I made a crappy graphic. I'll tell you all about it.
We got a
Coming
graphic?
up next.
Hell
we,
yes.
we always have graphics.
Oh.
We are a graphic show now. Graphics, graphics, graphics. You say it 3 times, they get crappier. Gary Matt, 1620. All right. We're in the last 17 minutes of the week here on a Friday football fiesta, where the Nebraska Cornhuskers take on UCLA tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Other things today, we got Cornhusker basketball tomorrow. They take on FIU. We got Nebraska wrestling begins their season tomorrow. Today rather. They take on Army at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. Number 2, Nebraska wrestling takes on number 24 Army. Got a little Omaha hockey at the Baxter Arena. They take on North Dakota. Don't forget to listen to the Connor Happer show, where you can
which is the next show. Spoiler alert.
Yes, you can pick up some tickets to those games. Nebraska volleyball. Let me see here.
They're kicking somebody's ass this
No,
weekend.
they play USC. I just don't know if it's either tomorrow or when it is. They end up there, by the way, the 43 straight set winning streak.
They're the 85 Bears of volleyball.
They take on Minnesota. They're on the road tomorrow, 2:30. And then after that, they take their West Coast road trip next weekend, where they take on UCLA on Friday and then USC on Sunday. Creighton women's volleyball, talk about kicking ass. They've been kicking ass in the Big East this season. And they are, funny enough, the last team to defeat Nebraska volleyball in a set. That happened at the Chi. They won last weekend against Marquette. They won that 3-2. And then they have their final, that was their final home Big East stand of the season. They now go on the road. They play tonight at 7:30 against Villanova and then Georgetown on Sunday. And then they end their Big East regular season next weekend against St. John's and Seton Hall. So there's kind of your sport update there in terms of a lot of things that are going around Lincoln and Omaha. Going around the Metro tonight, we got some high school football. I will be on the call for Millard North versus Papio South. That'll be here starting at 6:45 on 1620 The Zone. Solo Bolo, baby.
That's okay.
Be fun.
I have reason to listen.
Be a good time.
I'll be there.
We go to the Equitable Bank inbox, where we take banking personally. Old man Doug, shout out. John emails in, I was once at a gathering that had pizza and the only one left was a cheeseburger pizza. I don't know if this is actually considered real pizza, but I had 2 bites and threw the rest away.
There's some people that really like the cheeseburger pizza.
I mean,
at Val's.
so cheeseburger pizza, though, is just essentially like just ground beef, right? I mean,
but then like burgery stuff on it.
but like, okay, so you already have.
I'm not turning any pizza down, so I'm the wrong
But
person.
here's my
to
thing
ask.
with the hamburger pizza. The hamburger pizzas that I've eaten, they're not putting like lettuce and ketchup and pickles
Right.
on it, you know.
Well, they put
or-
pickles in this one, yeah.
or red onions or anything. They really just put the ground. It's just ground beef and cheese, right? It's just like a
Yeah.
cheeseburger, right? So I don't.
Damn it,
I'm not that hungry.
Oh, I'm always.
That's the one thing about these Monster Energy drinks. Like they fill you up. That's like a meal.
Well, it's like
itself.
cocaine. It's an appetite suppressant.
I don't. You know what? I'm really disappointed that the people over here at the Dundee double shot. Like I used to be a regular,
Shout out, guys.
regular customer, and I love them over there. And now I'm on the energy drinks. I just don't drink their coffee anymore. I feel disappointed. I feel like I'm letting them down. Do you know who I'm also letting down? Can you guess, Jimmy? Who am I letting down?
Not me.
I appreciate
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm letting
I've
down
enjoyed my morning with
I'm
you.
letting down myself.
Okay, I wasn't gonna
All right.
go
I'm
there.
failing myself because we now go to our pick'em segment. We added 2 teams to the
Oh!
graphic. Look at that. Minnesota's been added to the graphic. The Colts have been added to the graphic. The graphic is with the team's logos in which
Don't they look pretty?
Oh my God!
Is
Isn't
Gary
that
still
great?
kicking your ass?
Yeah, look at that.
57-6. This looks like the 95 Huskers against literally anybody in the
Well, look
Big
what I
Eight.
did last weekend. All right. Look what I did last.
0-3.
Tough.
You made a poop in the bed. Wow.
I have to make sure that these lines are correct because I made these last night. And
Gary
then-
went 1-1, so he even took one game off.
No, he pushed. Okay, so it was one of those things where he bet. I think it was Minnesota +3 and Minnesota won by 3. I think was the one that he specifically picked. So he went 1-1-1. So he only added 2 points to his total. I went 0-3. So I'm 12-18 on the year. This is getting embarrassing.
Got him right where you want him.
No, not really. I mean, I'm never going to concede. And
And then, see, look, April put in the chat, Crane Volleyball is home tonight and Sunday for the final regular season game.
Thank
I
you,
thought that too, but
Thanks
then
for chiming in.
I went to their volleyball schedule.
I mean, it says April CU alum, so we're going to go with April on this one.
I thought that was the case too, April, but then I was looking at their volleyball schedule and it said that they were on the road. Let me look back and see where my missteps came.
There you go, Patrick. Look at that. Minor setback for a major comeback. Finish strong, Maddie. Start slinging that ball down the
this
field.
is dumb. They don't distinguish. Okay, so look, it says this is why I got messed up, April. They do the whole when it's blue, they're at home. Wait, why are they
Just read the media notes.
No, I'm saying why are these gray? Oh, I thought so it was like gray and blue, and I thought the blue was at home and the gray was on the road, and so I was going off the color coordinator. I wasn't looking at the DJ Sokol Arena.
If it was green and purple, you'd have an issue.
Yeah, I know. I got confused there. So they are home tonight. Go to those games. Crane Volleyball's killing it.
Start
November
tailgating.
7th, they take on Villanova, which is tonight. And then on Sunday, they take on Georgetown. April, I thought that was the case too, but I got confused by the colors. So thank you for commenting in the YouTube chat. Shout out Charles and shout out J-Man in the YouTube chat as well. Okay, we go back to this erratic segment where we are
this is
picking
great.
games.
Yeah.
Gary has 57 points. I have 6 points. Gary has an overall record of 17, 11, and 1. I have a record of 12 and 18. Last week, Gary was 1, 1, and 1. He had a push. I was 0 and 3. Gary's picks that he has sent in. He has Florida -3. He has the Jacksonville and Houston Texans under, which is at 37.5.
That's a
and
craptastic game.
UNLV -4.5, which is why they're on the graphic, because we're always picking them, baby. So those are Gary's picks. My picks for the weekend, I will go with Memphis -3.5 against Tulane. I will take Indiana -14.5. They take on Penn State. And then I will take on the Indianapolis Colts -6.5.
Your Colts?
They play early in the morning against the Atlanta Falcons.
You'll not be awake for it.
They will end up running the ball a ton on a terrible Falcons defense. So those are the picks for the week. The loser of the picks pool will end up having to do a punishment by the choice of the listeners. which-
If the listeners are picking, I'm sitting back. And
I'm gonna need I'm gonna need a couple of 3-0 victories. Placat puts in no Sawyer Robertson to bet on this weekend makes me a sad boy. Here's the thing, I'm done betting on Baylor. I have lost too much money and too many points in this pick'em pool to
That's okay. Wake
continue to bet Baylor. But we got to keep them on the graphic because I think I've bet them like 17 times this season because Sawyer Robertson is absolutely electric. And for whatever reason, Dave Aranda only knows how to coach in drunk games that don't make sense.
But sober.
And didn't. Yeah, well, last week it wasn't a drunk game. They just kicked the crap out of UCF and Scott Frost. I mean, plain and simple. When Scott Frost doesn't play a team named West Virginia, his bomb it down the field offense just fails. So, that's Gia. She's a
Hey, yeah, she's on the
yeah.
thing with that stuff.
I don't know why I never Today Food. I don't know why I ever changed from the Today Show. But alrighty. Nebraska State Volleyball, by the way. Finals are in Lincoln tomorrow. So shout out State Volleyball. Should be fun. It's been a lot of great videos. I love volleyball dads. We've been seeing all these videos of just volleyball dads just hanging out in the stands, rooting on their daughters. It's been absolutely incredible. We saw Jalen Reyes and Harper Murray were there checking out State Volleyball. So that was fun
Always
as well.
curtain.
Volleyball State, baby. Nebraska takes on Minnesota. Creighton Volleyball takes on Villanova tonight at the DJ Sokol Arena. You got to think Connor Happer will be there tonight, right? Got to think.
Have you ever seen Connor and Billy in the same building?
Oh, good question. Yes, I have.
No, that's true.
Have seen. Should be a good weekend of football. BYU, Texas Tech. That'll be a really good game. Missouri A&M. Watch out for that game. That's going to be.
Let's go Aggies.
That's going to be a very interesting affair.
May the spirit of Bucky Richardson be with you.
This freshman quarterback from Missouri. I mean, obviously they wanted Bo Pribula to be the guy this year, whatever. But he's a dude. He's got the potential, like Lee Sterling said earlier in the show, to be a round one NFL draft pick. It's a tough situation to come into to play that Texas A&M defense led by Mike Elko,
Sir Parker,
in his first game. But we will see Matt Zoller on full display against the Aggies. That game's at 6.5. There are some projections that say that that game is actually more closer to a 1-point game, 6-point game, just because Mizzou is really, really good.
I don't care. I got A&M 87, Mizzou 2.
Your hate for Mizzou is admirable. I admire that. We also have Alabama versus LSU, which I don't think will be that competitive. Penn State and Indiana, which I'm hoping is a bludgeoning for my sake because I picked them in our little thing. So
that is an interesting little thing.
The game that everybody cares about, the game that everybody wants to talk about, the game that everybody listening to the station will be watching tomorrow is UCLA versus the Big Red. I was almost going to make a USC Northwestern joke because Northwestern is also out there.
That's tonight,
on the
though.
West Coast. That is tonight, though.
Do you want to watch some ball?
14.5 point spread. I almost picked USC. I think that Northwestern.
I'm sure the Coliseum will be jam packed.
Oh yeah, so many people there. Oh,
it's such a huge rivalry.
By the way, the in picture. I saw some new pictures of Northwestern's new football stadium.
I thought of you.
They got the canopy now building over it. Now those scoreboards going to be absolutely incredible. I am so excited to go there next year. It's going to look like an awesome stadium. Do you know that they were like the only? It'll be the second time since 2014 we'll have like a brand new college football stadium, which is kind of crazy to think about, which kind of plays into the tradition of
really,
because
I've just been at a new stadium lately.
Well, is that a brand new stadium or?
Well, I mean, it was completely torn down. And it's half well, it's 3/4.
So that's what they're saying,
rebuilt.
like a new,
it'll be all rebuilt,
like fully. That's what I saw. Maybe it's an incorrect stat, but I saw it. Matt stats. Alrighty, UCLA versus Nebraska. Jimmy Shop.
What in the hell's going to happen? Actually, that's accurately put because I don't know, but I've said all week I'm excited to watch this game because there's just no. You could see so many different outcomes going, and this isn't Kool-Aid. This is everyone's saying, "Oh, it's over. What are they going to? No more Dylan. What are the Huskers going to do?" I actually think it's going to be a fun game tomorrow, and I think Nebraska's going to win it 31-21.
Whoa!
Team victory. I said it earlier. Team. Look, if the team doesn't step up, then there'll be speaks after on overreaction, and then on Monday, and then that's a different conversation. But at some point, you got to have something go your way. I don't know.
They lose this. If they lose this weekend, it's going to make Big Red overreaction last weekend look like a walk in the park. It's going to be pretty brutal.
Look, if they lose this weekend, they're probably going 6-6. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, probably.
Like
I don't think that's a bad statement. Gary Sharp predicted that Nebraska would win 24-21. So the cover and the over. I will take the cover and the under. 21-17. Nebraska wins is my official score prediction. I think that there will probably be a drive where Nico Emiliava just kind of runs all over the place, and you're like, holy crap, they might lose this game. But I think at the end of the day, the defense and TJ Lateef just fine, just enough to scrape by UCLA and advance to 7-4 on the year, where you just need one more and maybe even two more wins to really say, hey, this football team, even despite some adversity and some obvious flaws, took some jumps this season.
At some point, you have to decide when you're going to change the narrative. And that's what I'm looking for tomorrow. Are you going to change the narrative, or it's just going to be the same old song and dance? And if that's the case, then hey.
It's the execution era of Matt Rule in Nebraska football. Will they execute tomorrow? We'll find out at 8 o'clock. And don't forget to tune into BROR after the game. John Bishop and I will be on the post game, hearing from you, the most important people, your voice after the Nebraska Cornhuskers take on the UCLA Bruins. It's been a great week here on the Gary and Matt show on 1620 The Zone. Live, laugh, and punt. They'll be doing plenty of that at Kinnick Stadium.
Weather will be nasty.
Hawkeyes take on the Oregon Ducks. Don't go anywhere. Connor Happer showing the crossovers next.